Hello. See. There we go. I will be lurking, but so amazing to see you. Thank you, Tori. I appreciate that. Hold on, let me give you a shout out real quick. What the? Okay, so that's never happened before. Oh wait, hold on. So I just started stream and it's already deciding to give me a bunch of... Okay. Hold on. There we go. Jeez. That was a lot more frustrating than it needed to be. But my Instagram story uploaded, so let's try this again. There we go. Oh well. You can't get good at stuff if you don't run into hurdles every once in a while. So, now that I've got all that squared up and out of the way, so, I'm wearing my tuxedo right now, and you probably might not be able to see it, but I've actually got my hair all trimmed up, and I tried to brush it out, but my hair just gets so frizzy. I may need to start doing a sort of hairspray thing again. Anyways, I decided to throw on my tuxedo because it's December 1st, the last month of the year, and usually there are a lot of events that are put off until the end of the year, and special events call for dressing up, and, well, I now have the means to dress up, get dressed for special occasions, and, well, black tie is one of the most common dress codes for formal occasions. Now, a lot of people these days, when they think formal events, they think, oh, you gotta wear a suit and tie. Not necessarily. There are some people who like to wear suits very casually. Very casually. I almost said casualty. But, yeah. There are people who like to wear suits casually. A tuxedo is not like a regular suit. It's a formal dress code. And I'll go over the details of my tuxedo. So, right here, I'm wearing a dress shirt with a wing collar and a single cuff with cufflinks that I made myself from shank buttons and paper clips. I could not find any cufflinks or shirt studs in my area, so when in doubt, just make them yourself. The shirt studs I have right here are also shank buttons, and I feel like they kind of... sorry, reading glasses. I feel like they coincide with the cufflinks I made. As a matter of fact, I used shank buttons for every buttoning piece throughout this outfit. Maui! Come on, Maui. I'm trying to keep things all dignified. I do not want you showing the chat your butthole. Cat. He's always wanting my attention. Because... cat. I can't help but love him, though. I mean, he's a cat. Cats are so dang lovable, even when they act out, misbehave, or cause catastrophe. You can't help but love them. Or I know I can't. Do you always have to lean your butt against everything? Well, is that so? He's pushing his butt up against a monitor and knocking it into the other one. He just can't help himself. Anyway. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Every spot where there is supposed to be a button, I used a shank button. Because, I just think it looks better that way. So, I made my shirt studs from shank buttons and paperclip, just like I made my cufflinks from shank buttons and paper clips. The tuxedo, I made this myself. I pretty much made everything except for the shirt. And the socks and the shoes. So the shirt, the socks, and the shoes I did not make. Everything else I did. I also made this bow tie. It's made from silk and interfacing. Sewed it together, trimmed the seam allowance so that everything would be nice and streamlined. The jacket I made from this cotton twill that I got from Joanne. I think it was 2024. So, yeah, I think it was around last year. Maybe a year and a half ago. So yeah, I used a cotton twill for the main fabric of the jacket, the waistcoat, and the trousers. As you can maybe see here, I used peak lapels, or I have peak lapels for the jacket. I used this sewing pattern as a sort of basis. However, this pattern had details that are not suited for a tuxedo. It had patchwork pockets and a center vent. Let's see if I can... you probably can't see it that well, but on the back of the envelope there is a sketch of the final garment when it's all sewn together, and you can see like a stitching line going towards the left arm to indicate that there is a vent there. You don't want that in a tuxedo either. So, yeah. I used this as a base pattern, and I added elements of 9241, such as the peak lapels, the welt pockets, because that is more appropriate for a tuxedo. And I also nixed the vents on this one as well, because when you wear a tuxedo, it should hug your body, and the ventless is the best. You definitely do not want vents in a tuxedo, or at least that's the rule that I went with. And I also skipped over the pocket flaps on this pattern because that would make it informal, and a tuxedo is supposed to be a formal garment. So, just something to note. As you can see, I have the chest welts right here, and within it, I have a pocket square that I also made myself. It's solid white, but for a black tie tuxedo, your pocket square can be just about any color you want. It could be white like this one. It could be red like... Actually, I think this is more of a burgundy. Maybe maroon. But, yeah. If... Hold on. I'm good. So, yeah. Just so you get the idea that this is something you can do if you want to do that. Okay. So let's get this pocket square back in there. And, you know, it's just a subtle detail, but I think it looks nice when you wear a tuxedo. Now, as I mentioned earlier with the bow tie, I made this from silk fabric and interfacing. Now, you can, if you want, have a bow tie that is the same fabric as the lapels on your jacket. In this case, it probably would have made a lot more sense if I wore this, because yeah, I'm not sure how well that's gonna come across in the stream, but this is the same fabric as the lapels on my jacket. Now, I want to talk about the lapels because this is a detail that actually does have a little variation, because some tuxedo lapels will be faced with either a satin silk or a grosgrain silk. Excuse me. And there are two types of lapels that are acceptable for a tuxedo. The first one is what I'm wearing here right now, which is the peak lapel, and the other option is available in $88.99 from Simplicity, which is the shawl collar. Now, the same principle also applies to the shawl collar. It can be satin silk, it can be grosgrain silk, it could just be plain silk, for all I care. But the point is, it has to be a contrasting fabric from the actual jacket. Usually, a tuxedo is made from worsted wool. It could also be made from herringbone fabric, twill fabric. In some cases, you can actually have a tuxedo made from velvet. Like the velvet jacket that I made. That's probably going to be another subject for a later time, but just to get the point across, it is something you can do if you want to do it. I went with satin on mine because I like the sheen it gives, and when you wear it in the evening, it just gives a really nice little effect, and I can't help but like it. My pocket square keeps sinking in. I want it to be just a little visible, but not completely out of sight. There we go. So, talked about the jacket. This is a single-breasted jacket, so you only have a one-button closure. Now, if you have a double-breasted tuxedo, then it would be 4 buttons that button on 1, or it could be 6 buttons that button on 2, or 6 buttons that button on 1, so on and so forth. But generally speaking, for a single-breasted jacket, you only have 1 button closing the whole thing. Which, hold on. See? Single button closure, because it's a single-breasted jacket. Also, I have the double welt pockets right here. No flaps, because, like I said, the flaps would make it informal, and a tuxedo is supposed to be a formal garment. You may also notice I'm wearing a waistcoat. That's another thing I want to talk about when it comes to tuxedos. There are 2 options for covering your waist. You either wear a waistcoat, which is what I'm wearing right now, or you can wear a cummerbund. But you don't wear a cummerbund and a waistcoat together. No, it's only one or the other. If you do wear a waistcoat like I am, that's also a good opportunity for you to wear a pocket watch or just a watch chain, which I really like to do with my formal garments. See? Little pocket watch. I'm pretty sure I've shown this particular watch several times. And I just like to wear it with my formal outfits because I feel like it really adds something, you know, makes the whole thing unique. Now, the waistcoat, I made it from the same fabric that I made the jacket and the trousers from. I will talk about the trousers in a moment. I also have satin lapels on my waistcoat. You know what? I'm going to take off my jacket for a second. Because I want to talk about the waistcoat a little bit. So, here's my waistcoat. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it is a full canvas waistcoat. Let me try that again. It is a full canvas waistcoat. Now, there are some waistcoats that are half canvas. I have not seen or found the half canvas waistcoat pattern, but you know what? It's just as well, because the full canvas, in my opinion, is a bit sturdier, and it's more... What's the word I'm looking for? It's more typical and classic. There we go. It's also a lot more straightforward because, well, it's straightforward for me because, well, I don't just want it to look good from the front. I also want it to look solid from the back. So, yeah, there is that. However, someone did mention that backless waistcoats will keep you from overheating. I'm not so sure about that because even when I only have like 2 layers on at most, there have been times where I still overheat. So I guess it's more... It depends on your body and your bodily conditions. So, yeah, that is something to think about. But like I said, if you're not into the whole waistcoat thing, you can also wear a cummerbund. And cummerbunds are a good opportunity for you to add in a pop of color to your otherwise monochrome outfit. Sorry, I'm more used to putting my jacket on while I'm standing up. It's actually a bit harder when I'm sitting down. So, going back to the shirt, there are a few different types of shirts that you can do with a tuxedo. Now, this right here that I'm wearing right now, this is a wing collar shirt. You can also do a turn down collar shirt. You can also have a pleated front shirt. And most black tie shirts have a double French cuff. I tried to make a standard black tie dress shirt, but when I washed it, it kind of shrunk a little, and now it kind of doesn't fit right. So, hi Anita, how are you? Let me give you a shout out real quick. Anita's been playing some games, and she's even had the developers of said games in her chat, which is pretty awesome, I think. Thanks, Anita. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. I was about to say something else, but I lost my train of thought. And my nose got itchy. Don't you hate it when that happens? Anyway. I believe I was talking about dress shirts. Then I saw Anita respond. She's been playing some games that were in development, I think I said. And she even had the game developers in her chat. I think it's cool that people are getting out there, creating games and sharing said games with other people, and actually getting a live feedback from whoever plays their games. I think that's awesome. Now, back to what I was saying with the tuxedo shirt. There are a few different types of shirts that you can do. You could do a wing collar like I have. You could do a turn down collar. You can have a flat front like I have right here. You could do a pleated front. You could do a single French cuff or a double fold French cuff. You know, the sky's the limit. There's also an option where you can have either shirt studs or a hidden fly. I have yet to actually see a shirt with a hidden fly, but it's a thing you can do if you want to do it. Personally, I prefer the fancy buttons or the shirt studs because it just adds a little extra something. Just like my pocket watch chain just adds something just by being there. Yeah. Now, I'm going to try to talk about my trousers here. I'm not sure how well you can see. Actually, you can see that fairly well. Tuxedo trousers have a stripe going down the side of the leg. A lot of people just call it a tuxedo stripe. Some people call it a galon. For black tie, you can have one galon. For white tie, you usually have two, but over here in the US, you can get away with just a single galon. I'll probably talk about white tie another time, but yeah. Typically, with tuxedo trousers, you want a side galon or a side stripe. There are different things that you can do with the tuxedo trousers. Usually you would have jetted pockets or the typical hidden pockets. You could do a pleated front, you can do a flat front, you know, the choice is yours. However, I should also note, when you buy a tuxedo, you should always buy the jacket and the trousers together. Don't buy them separately. If you try to match them afterwards, it's gonna go wrong, more often than not. Luckily for me, I made all my pieces from the same fabrics. So, yeah. Cotton twill for the main part of the jacket, cotton twill for the main part of the waistcoat, cotton twill for the majority of the tuxedo trousers, satin lapels on the jacket, satin lapels on the waistcoat, satin tuxedo stripe on my trousers. I think I've made my point. So yeah, you want all these things to match. If you try to match them afterwards, it's not gonna end well. For my trousers, I went off of Simplicity's 9043 pleated pants pattern because I like pleats. And I watched Nora Stantiford's tutorial on this pattern so many times, and I can't help but love it. I mean, this guy, Nora Stantiford, he's a freaking genius. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I freaking love this guy. This guy's awesome. So, going back to 9241, the trousers that the pattern pieces for these trousers are flat front, which is okay, but for me, I prefer pleated pants. But hey, if you want to go with the flat front pants, you can go ahead and use this pattern. But just to hammer home the point, you do have the options. Now, I want to talk about shoes for black tie. You know what? How about I just take my shoe off? Just so I could show. This dress shoe here, this is a capless Oxford, pretty much. I believe this upper part is made of calfskin leather. The lower part is a rubber sole, which isn't really all that traditional. I do have patent leather dress shoes, but they have a cap on them. It's really hard to explain, but traditionally you want to go with either a capless Oxford, you could also use a hole cut Oxford, or if you want to be really fancy, you could go with a patent leather opera pump. However, opera pumps are really hard to find, let alone for a good price. And there we go. Type my shoe again. Oh, I forgot a detail about the pants. Oh, I suppose I could have just done that instead of taking off my shoe, but you notice how there are no stitching lines here? Well, that's because tuxedo trousers don't have any turn-ups or cuffs at the bottom. Instead, and I actually did see this on a website a few days ago, actually, that tuxedo trousers actually have a lining on the inside. Like, I thought, hey, maybe I can avoid having to do a blind hem with a hand stitch if I just use a lining. Turns out that is what most tuxedo trousers do. They have a lining on the inside. So I actually got that detail right unknowingly. So I think I pretty much got the gist of the whole tuxedo down. The basic thing is you want a proper tuxedo jacket with a silk-faced lapel. You want either a waistcoat or a cummerbund, and you want a pair of trousers with a side stripe that correspond with the jacket. More often than not, you definitely want a matching set. Do not try to match them after. Do not try to match them afterward. Also, I have to stress this. If you go to an event and there is a dress code, make sure that you see the entire thing altogether. When the dress code states that it's black tie, that means black bow tie, not a necktie. Black bow tie. Now, if it's black tie optional, then you can get away with wearing a necktie, because the optional part is if you don't have a tuxedo, then you can just wear a business suit, which for most people is the closest thing they have to a tuxedo. But if you do have a tuxedo, you might as well just wear the tuxedo, even though the black tie part is optional. However, when they say black tie optional, that does not mean neckwear optional. You either wear a black bow tie or you wear a necktie for black tie optional. If it's just black tie, full stop, you need a black bow tie. Now, I made my tuxedo from black cotton twill fabric. Except for the lapel facings and the tuxedo stripe, I made that from black satin. But the point I'm trying to make is, you definitely want the facings, the bow tie, the tuxedo stripe to be black. Now, as for the main jacket fabric, you can actually get away with doing some slightly different. In some cases, you could do like a charcoal gray suit or a midnight blue suit, just so long as the lapel facings and the tuxedo stripe are black, along with the black bow tie. Now, if we were talking about white tie, that's probably another story altogether, but I'll get to that in a later day. But I'm focusing on black tie and tuxedos right now. Yeah. There are people who say that black is an overrated color and you should probably wear midnight blue or charcoal gray. I prefer to go with black because I love black. Black is beautiful. But if you want to make yours a bit more distinct or more unique, then you have the option of going with a really dark charcoal gray or a midnight blue. And I did mention earlier that there are many different shirt styles that you could choose from. I did hear that there are some people who have their shirt studs and their cufflinks for their tuxedo in precious gemstones. If I were to do something like that, I would probably wear them in my birthstone, which is aquamarine. Yes, I'm born in March. I was born in March, excuse me. For, I believe it's November, which is topaz. If you were born in November and you were wearing a tuxedo and wanted your studs and cufflinks to be of your birthstone, it would be topaz. I know for September it would be aquamarine. Sapphire, excuse me. I know in September it would be sapphire. Jeez. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. March is aquamarine. November is topaz. September is sapphire. I know August is peridot. And I also know April is a diamond. And I think June is a pearl. I could be mistaken on some of those. I forgot that I also grabbed these. Probably looks like a garish contrast. I probably look like Elton John, except not as flamboyant. But yeah, just fun little thing that I sometimes do. Let's see what else. Oh, I forgot that I pulled this out. Yeah, this is Vogue 8988. Yeah, if you want to make your own tuxedo, this may actually be a great pattern to do that with. I mean, for the jacket, you have two views for the jacket, the single breast and the double breast. And both of them are acceptable for a tuxedo because, well, on this pattern... Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot you can't really see it all that well because of my webcam, but both views use peak lapels, which, like I said, I have right here. It does not have a vest with this pattern, but that's okay. It's totally fine. And it also has the flat front trousers. So, yeah. If you want to make a suit or a tuxedo, this may be a great pattern to do that with. But you may have to figure out how to do the tuxedo stripe. I got lucky because the first time I made a tuxedo, it was with the flat front pattern, and I kind of just winged it with my thought process on sewing one end down to the back of the pants and then folding it over, ironing it flat, and then sewing the front of the trousers to that side, the raw edge. I'm probably not explaining very well, but still, I managed to figure it out, and I'm pretty sure if I could do it, everybody else out there probably can. So, that's a thing you can do if you want to do it. I got very lucky when I made this tuxedo because not only did it turn out so much better than my first one, but it also feels a lot better. I also really like the shank buttons on the serger sleeves here. And I also like that it's fully functional. Like, I actually have inside pocket. Oh, that's why I pulled these out. To show that my tuxedo is fully functional. So yeah, I have the inner jacket pockets, I have the pocket square pockets, I have the jetted pockets on the front, the single button closure. Yeah, this jacket, fully functional. And the pockets on the waistcoat, obviously, those are functional. And yes, even the pockets on my trousers are functional, including the back ones. If I can unbutton it, jeez. Yep. So, rebutton that real quick, even though I can't see what I'm doing. So yeah, those are all the intricacies of a tuxedo. Like I said, if you want to make your own tuxedo, this pattern will definitely help you with sewing together the matching set. Of course, this one is a fairly close substitute. However, this jacket does not have inside pockets. That's why I would suggest doing this one instead, because it has the inside pockets, it's got the flat pockets on the front, which you can also nix the flaps because tuxedo jackets don't really have flaps unless it's a rental, which I highly advise that you try to avoid. You're better off just buying a tuxedo, even if you rarely ever wear it. A proper tuxedo is it's better. Trust me, it's better for events and stuff. Plus, you also have the option of making either a single-breasted like this one is, or a double-breasted jacket. You also get a pants pattern along with it. So, yeah. Pretty great piece. When I made my jacket, I mostly went off of Simplicity 8962 as well as Simplicity's 9241. So, it's pretty much a hybrid. And I went off of this pattern for my tuxedo trousers, minus the belt loops. That's another thing that I probably should have mentioned when I was talking about the pants. Black tie trousers do not have belt loops because wearing a belt with a tuxedo would make it less formal. In fact, hold on. Let me open my waistcoat up for a moment, just to show that, yep, I do have suspenders right here, and I actually sewed in buttons to help the suspenders stay in place, so... Yeah. Oops. Wrong button. There we go. So yeah, with a tuxedo, you would either wear suspenders or you would have side adjusters on your trousers. You would never wear a belt. Period. I think that's about it. There is also something that I should mention regarding the pocket watch. More often than not, the pocket watch would be going towards your offhand or your non-dominant side, which is what I do with my pocket watch all the time. I'm right-handed, and I have the watch going to my left hand so that I can still do whatever with my primary hand while I check the time with my offhand. That doesn't work for everybody because some people, unlike myself, are clumsy with their offhand, so they end up wearing it on their dominant hand side. But the standard advice is that if you wear a pocket watch, you have it towards your non-dominant side, so you can keep your primary hand doing other things while you're just checking your watch, see if you can get the hell out of a conversation or whatever kind of predicament that you want to try to escape. There you go. So, I want to go back and clarify that when it comes to lapel shapes for a tuxedo, peak lapels and shawl collars are the only acceptable options. You don't want a notched lapel tuxedo because that would just make you look like a typical school kid in a rented tuxedo who doesn't really give a hoot about dressing well or... I forgot what I was going to say. But, yeah. So, we have a peak lapel. If I were to fold it like that. So, this is what it would look like had I actually followed the 8962 pattern, but I didn't. So, peak lapel. You know what? There is also something that I wanted to do. I wanted to watch a video talking about celebrities wearing tuxedos and stuff. Celebrity tuxedo. Okay. I'm gonna pause that. And then I'm gonna switch screens. I'm gonna move that over. So, I saw this video a while back. It says, Tuxedo expert breaks down celebrity tuxedos from Joaquin Phoenix to Rami Malek. Fine points GQ. I'm not entirely sure what his credentials are, but if they say he's a tuxedo expert, then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he must have studied. And I will be giving my own critiques while we watch. So. I almost felt like Michael Keaton in the 1989 Batman movie. So, let's give this a watch and see what this guy has to say.
Howdy. Mordechai Rubenstein here with GQ today, talking about tuxedos.
Okay, good intro.
Classic tux,
Bradley Cooper.
tuxedo, black tie, formal. It's all about the fit. You could have the cheapest tuxedo rental, you can have your grandfather's, you could have a secondhand, you could have it untailored, you could have it made for you. If it's ill-fitting, and by that I mean the shoulder's exaggerated, swimming in the jacket, you can barely button it, opened, it can't be buttoned at all, no good, no good. The sleeve length, sure, you want to show a bit of cuff, there's rules, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, I don't really care. It's not about this, it's just about a hair. It's just about, it doesn't matter if it's French cuff or a normal button. It doesn't matter if it's a turn up. I don't want to see your giant cufflinks. I'm not seeing as many cummerbunds lately, and I think that's a great way to wear a tuxedo open, whether you're skinny or fat. I think it's kind of cool because it acts as a belt.
Okay. I am gonna agree because on some people, yeah, a cummerbund does look good, and in some circumstances, yeah, it would act as a belt, but really it's just a waist covering. Now going back to cufflinks, I will admit he does have a point because, well, he's right. It's not about showing the entire cuff. It's about maybe showing like a 1/4 inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch. Yeah, you don't want to over exaggerate how much shirt cuff you show. And yeah, it should be a nice fitting garment. Now, luckily for me, I can button it, but I choose not to button it because I like to show the waistcoat and my pocket watch chain. And if I rewind,
Swimming in the jacket. If it's
okay, now this right here, the trousers, they're kind of bunching at his ankles, and I don't know who this guy is, but I think he actually is tucking his trousers into his shoes. And I don't know why people do that. Maybe he rides his bike everywhere, but actually, come to think of it, why would you wear a tuxedo while riding a bike? That just doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not going to judge the individual, but I will say, tucking your pants into your shoes, That's not a good look for Black Tie. I'm sorry, but it just isn't. And okay, here we have Jeff Goldblum. I like what he's wearing here. He's got square cufflinks. He's got the jetted pockets. I think that's a shirt stud that I see. And I also like his bow tie. I mean, it's going from one jacket lapel to the other jacket lapel, and it's not exaggerated like a clown. I mean, it's right on the money. And he's looking really good. He's looking really good. I can't see if he has a stripe on the side of his trousers, but that could just be the angle he was shot at, or maybe he angled his leg a certain way. That's possible.
Sure, you want to show a bit of cuff. There's rules, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I don't really care. It's not about this. It's just about a hair. It's just about, it doesn't matter if it's French cuff or a normal button. It doesn't matter if it's a turn up. I don't want to see your giant cufflinks. I'm not seeing as many
Okay, hold on.
It's just about a hair. It's just about, it doesn't matter if it's French cuff or a normal button.
Okay, now this part I disagree. You definitely want French cuffs on your tuxedo. You don't want a regular button. You definitely want the studded shirt, and you definitely want the French cuff with cufflinks. So, for this part regarding tuxedos, I disagree.
Doesn't matter if it's a turn up. I don't want to see your giant cufflinks. I'm not seeing as many cummerbunds lately, and I think that's a great way to wear a tuxedo open, whether you're skinny or fat. I think it's kind of cool because it acts as a belt.
And I'm going to repeat myself. His point on cummerbunds, I will have to agree. I'm not a fan of cummerbunds myself, but it is a nice way to wear a tuxedo open because it acts as a belt. Even though it's just a waist covering. Again, I prefer to wear a waistcoat, but if you prefer to wear a cummerbund, do your thing.
Garter, keeping you in at the same time. It's refreshing so you don't see the wrinkled shirt coming out of the waistband. Entry-level tuxedo, refreshing.
Okay, Joe Alwyn. I think he's wearing a contrasting black velvet tuxedo jacket. I like this look. I think it's a very nice look. I mean, he's got the satin, or maybe it's just plain silk, on his peak lapels. That's very nice. I also like the shape of his bow tie. That looks good. I think he's wearing a hidden fly shirt. He is wearing a cummerbund, and it matches his lapels. His trousers, I can't see any tuxedo stripe on it, but still, Joe Alwyn, mwah. I like what he's wearing here. Definitely a good tuxedo.
So you don't see the wrinkled shirt coming out of the waistband. Entry-level tuxedo doesn't have to be designer, doesn't have to be high fashion. In fact, I think it shouldn't. I think it should be training wheels. I think it should be cheap, off the rack, ready to go, size to fit. And what I mean by that is not hugging the tushy and not hugging the pits. You gotta be able to move, you gotta be able to...
Okay, Sylvester Stallone. I think I mentioned this before. Some double-breasted tuxedos, they have 6 buttons that button on one. And Sylvester Stallone, he's wearing a good example of that. And I should also note that his jacket appears to be matching his trousers. So that is a good look. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is a good look. His bow tie, though, it seems a bit on the smallish side. But it looks like he's wearing a turn-down collar on his dress shirt. And he's definitely got the French cuffs. Oh no, I see it on this screen. So that might actually be a shirt stud, or maybe it's a regular button. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that it's a shirt stud.
Well, to hail the cab, you got to be able to like conduct the choir and stuff.
Okay, Tracy Morgan. I think he's attending a black tie optional. He could probably get away with doing what he's doing right here, but if it's a black tie affair, yeah. There are details that are off. But I will give him credit. His trousers are matching with his jacket. But still, black tie doesn't mean black necktie, it means black bow tie. The black shirt, no, you don't have that with black tie. You want the shirt to be white. And I think he's got barrel cuffs. And he has flaps on his jacket. In some cases, the jacket will have flaps, but the pockets would also be functional, so you could tuck the flap in to give it more of a formal look. But again, this may be a black tie optional event that Tracy Morgan is attending, and if that's the case, then I'll give him a leeway. I'll give him some leeway. Excuse me.
You know, you got to move with ease. If it's a little bit big, that's okay. I think the trouser should meet the back of the shoe heel.
Okay, I also agree with him on this. The trousers should come down to the right length. Like, when I stand up, the bottom of my trousers actually come down to the top of the foot hole. Like, I can't really demonstrate it because it's really hard to, but... Or maybe I just did it so that I can see for myself and tell you how my trousers are fitting, but the point is, you should have your tuxedo trousers come down to the bottom of your ankle, or maybe the back of the shoe heel, because how do I put this? Because if it comes too high, then that's not really a good look. You're gonna look like what was his name? You're gonna look like Jaleel White's character in Family Matters. Damn it, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, guys. But the length of the pants, I agree with this guy on that matter. Maui, do you really have to do this again? Really, is that so? You are just not going to let me have a moment's peace, are you? And he decides to give himself a kitty bath. On my desk, no less. Say hi to the chat, Maui. Okay. But back to what I was saying. He has a point on the length of the trousers. It should come down to the back of the shoe heel, because if it comes up too high, you're going to look like Jaleel White's character from Family Matters. Uh,
We don't see that today. Today we see cropped, and more cropped.
True.
I mean, it shouldn't be hugging your body. I'm not sure that they can move in these body-hugging pants.
again, I agree with him on this. I prefer to have my trousers be straight fit. It might give me a sort of 1970s pants look, but I like that aesthetic far better than what we're seeing today, which is cropped, super slim, and it looks like, you can't really move all that well, because if you move a certain way, the fabric's just gonna give out and rip, and that's not a good look. I'm sorry, but it really isn't. Although I must admit, I do like what I see of the jacket on this individual. I can't tell who that is, but I do like the what shade is that? Bottle green. I do like the bottle green jacket, and it looks like it's got black satin lapels, and that's a neat combination. I like it.
I mean, you could staple the hem for all I care, but just have it the right length. Hopefully the staples are black. I love a one-button tux. I love a two-button tux. I don't know that
Okay, Stephen Ewan? I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but I don't like the jacket he's wearing here. If that really is a two-button jacket, that's not a proper tuxedo jacket. And it has a notch lapel. Again, for black tie events, that is no. Only peak lapels or a shawl collar. I do like his bow tie, though. I will give him credit for his bow tie. I think that's just a regular turn-down collar shirt. So.
needs more than that unless it's double-breasted. I love a peak lapel tux. I love a notch lapel tux, depending.
Again, notch lapels are not appropriate for formal events. Notch lapels are the most informal lapel shape. I'm probably pausing way more than people can tolerate, but still.
Not unless it's double-breasted.
Tom Hiddleston. He's wearing a double-breasted jacket with a shawl collar. Mwah. That is beautiful. And his jacket and trousers are matching. This is a matching set. Very nicely done. And it looks like his bow tie is also black. Again, nicely done. And Maui is just yelling up a storm again. And he's trying to claw his way through a door. No, Maui, you're not allowed in there. Sorry, cats don't like having anything be off limits or cut off to them because they're cats. They like to roam around, go all crazy. But back to what I was saying about Tom Hiddleston's tuxedo. Maui, stop interrupting me. Tom Hiddleston's tuxedo. It's a double-breasted jacket with a shawl collar, and it looks to be a very dark blue, but he also has a black bow tie. That's a very nice combination. I like that.
I love a peak.
Okay. This person is wearing a black necktie, so this must be black tie optional, but the peak lapels on his jacket, yeah, that is appropriate for black tie. Hopefully it's a one-button closure. If it's a two-button closure, then that's probably just a casual jacket. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. My cat just would not shut up. Anyway. I had to deal with him. So what was I saying? Oh yeah. This person is wearing a necktie and he's also got peak lapels. I will give him credit though. The necktie is actually matching his lapel facing. That's pretty good.
Lapel tux, I love a notch lapel tux. Depending on the body frame, how much does the lapel need to be peaking? I don't know. You know, that's up to the body type.
Okay, I will agree. How much does the lapel need to be peaking? That does depend on the body type. So, I will give him points on this. Okay, I recognize the guy on the left. His name is Chris Tucker. I'm willing to bet that's Chris Tucker on the left.
Shirt, classic, but some, I don't know. You know, that's up to the body type. White.
I think that's Chris Tucker. The guy in the middle I don't recognize the guy in the middle, but the guy on the right, I feel like I've seen him before. The white shirt, yeah, that is classic. And that is appropriate for black tie because really the shirt should be white. You could probably get away with an off-white shirt such as ivory, like the one I'm wearing right now. The guy in the middle is wearing a waistcoat. I love that. Chris Tucker, he's wearing a belt. Again, with black tie, tuxedos, you don't wear a belt. The guy on the right, he has his jacket closed, but I can see a bit of his shirt under the closure, and I don't think he's wearing a waist covering. I could be wrong, but I do like the black studs on that guy's shirt. I can't quite tell what his lapel shape is. The guy in the middle, though, I like the fact that he's wearing peak lapels, and I like how his shoes and the guy on the right, their shoes are clearly patent leather, so I'll give them kudos for that. I also like their bow ties.
White shirt, classic. But sometimes a black shirt with a tuxedo, you could wear a black t-shirt with a tuxedo without a collar if it fits right. One gentleman.
I disagree with that. Wearing a t-shirt with a tuxedo, only if the t-shirt is underneath the button-up shirt. And a black shirt with a tuxedo, I mean, just because it's black tie doesn't mean that the entire thing is supposed to be black. You know, the shirt should be white. Now that could just be my sticking to, excuse me. Sticking to tradition. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I saw a Discord notification. I had to double check that real quick. And what else did this guy say? Sometimes a black shirt with a tuxedo.
Sometimes a black shirt with a tuxedo.
Okay. Samuel L. Jackson, I will admit, he can wear so many different things and make them look good, but a black shirt with a black tie tuxedo, no. Dude, you should have worn a white shirt. I hate to ridicule Samuel L. Jackson for anything, but I think in this circumstance, I have to make an exception because if you're gonna wear a tuxedo, then the shirt has to be white. I mean, I think that's a standard rule for black tie dress code. If you're gonna wear a tuxedo, the shirt has to be white. Everything else can be black. That's okay. Um,
You could wear a black T-shirt with a tuxedo without a collar. If it fit-
I disagree on that. No. I don't think wearing a t-shirt with a tuxedo is appropriate. Unless the t-shirt is underneath your dress shirt. I probably already said that before, but I just want to hammer my point home.
It's right. One gentleman where the lapel is sort of, you know, like that. And I don't believe that's messed up. I believe he did that on purpose, a little kind of suave. I like that for two reasons. One, it's not about, don't look at my neck. And for two, it gives him a little bit of flair. It takes away from here. If there's ruffles.
Okay, the shirt on the left, I kind of like that. I think it looks interesting. Sorry, I shaved yesterday and the stubble's already coming out and it's making my neck itchy. I do like the ruffles on this shirt. I don't think he's wearing a waist covering, so that's a bit of a minus. But I do like that he's wearing peak lapels and they appear to be faced in satin. I also like that he's wearing the black bow tie. That's good. And I also like that it's a one-button closure. So, yeah, that's a pretty good tuxedo look. The one on the right, though, I'm not entirely sure that's appropriate for a tuxedo. But then again, this might not be a black tie event. This might actually be just a concert or a gathering, maybe just a festival party. Who knows? But yeah, that kind of shirt for a black tie ensemble, no, I'm sorry. Maybe if it was white, I would give him a pass, but no.
These days, maybe the collar open without a tie is kind of cool too. I like that these guys have their shirts tucked in.
Black tie requires you to wear a bow tie, a black bow tie. If you skip the bow tie, then you're not really wearing a tuxedo. You're kind of disgracing the whole black tie dress code. But I do agree that it is good that these guys have their shirts tucked in. You definitely want to tuck your shirt in. This guy is not wearing a waist covering. That's not good.
Don't unfluff your shirt, black tie. Dress up. Get dressed. If you want to go barefoot,
Bad idea.
no, not cool either.
Okay, he and I agree. If you want to go barefoot while wearing a tuxedo, not cool. Just no.
Studs, I don't know, it's nice to have the clean white pearl button.
Okay, I'm not sure what Bradley Cooper is doing here. I can't quite tell if those are studs or shank buttons. Clean white pearl buttons.
Buttons, it's nice to have studs. Again, I don't.
Okay. I like these studs. They're a bit more pronounced, they're more visible, and, oh! And I think this guy's also wearing a velvet jacket with peak lapels, and the black bow tie. Oh, and he's also got a pocket square and a white boutonniere. I love that. I love that very much. That, huge thumbs up.
I don't think they should be louder than your tuxedo.
Oh,
Louder than your tuxedo.
okay. Jamie Foxx. I recognize this guy like that. I like what he's wearing. He has a shawl collar, and it's matching his bow tie. He's got black studs on his shirt. His watch is a bit big, but I can see on his right hand, at least, he has a French cuff. That is good. And I can see part of his pants, and they look to be matching his jacket. Again, that is good. That is absolutely good. So, French cuffs, black studs, turn down collar, black bow tie, black lapels. I think that's a midnight blue tuxedo that Jamie Foxx is wearing. Absolutely great. Again, though, his timepiece looks to be a bit big. If I were in his position, I would have gone with a smaller watch, but still, I'm gonna give him kudos for his tuxedo. I mean, that looks absolutely magnificent. I love it.
Black tie, we're not talking about black tie optional. You wear a tie. I don't care if it's green, I don't care if it's yellow, I don't care if it's a bolo. I want something around the neck for you to say, it's a tie. Whatever it is, I don't care. Let it be. When I see Lakeith, I say, did the stylist not know how to tie the bow tie? Did he?
Okay, this guy, I have no idea what's going on in his mind, but he's... I don't even know where to begin. Okay, so the bow tie is undone. That's probably not a very good idea. But, you know, at least it's there. He has a wing color shirt and the top is unbuttoned. He's not wearing a waistcoat, and he's wearing a tailcoat with notch lapels. I'm probably gonna stress this more than I need to, but it's a formal event. You should be having peak lapels or a shawl collar. I probably cannot stress that enough. I do like the trim that he has going all around his tailcoat. That does look interesting. I will give him credit for that. He has the right amount of buttons. His timepiece looks a little bigger than it should. I do like what he has on his lapel. I'm not sure if that's a pin or if it's some sort of brooch, or maybe that's a boutonniere. I cannot confirm, but
let it be. When I see
Lakeith Stanfield. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the idea that he's going for, Mordecai said black tie optional earlier, so I guess maybe for black tie optional, this could be a look he's going for, or maybe creative black tie, but when just straight up black tie, just no.
Keith, I say, did the stylist not know how to tie the bow tie? Did he not know how to tie the bow tie? Or does he just not give a and it's there? I think of an open
Oh, wait.
Not know how to tie the bow tie, or does he just not give a
Okay, so it's some sort of pinned on decoration for his lapel. And it looks like that outline on his tailcoat, it seems to be some sort of bias trim. And another cat was messing around.
and it's there. I think of an open tie as after the wedding, after the bar mitzvah. You're on the way home from dinner, you're feeling good. You might have a cigarette and a drink and you didn't even realize you left the club. I don't care because he's wearing it with confidence. I like how he's wearing tails. It's
Oh, whoa.
the club. I don't care. on the way home from dinner, you're feeling good. You might have a cigarette and a drink, and you didn't even realize you left the club. I don't care because he's wearing it with confidence. I like...
I'm not 100% sure if those are loafers or tasseled pumps that he has. They may be tasseled opera pumps. That's what it looks like to me.
I like how he's wearing tails. It's borrowed from back in the day, Edwardian times, I believe, when they wore the tails.
Okay, it's not just Edwardian times, but it was also in the Victorian era as well. White tie and tails was a bit more common back then. In fact, there is an anime called Emma, a Victorian Romance. Hold on. I'm gonna switch screens real quick, and I'm gonna... Emma, a Victorian Romance. William Jones. Let's see if I can find a picture of him in his white tie and tails. Hold on. Open image in new tab. See if... Okay, let's see if this... Okay. Maybe if I zoom in a bit. Okay, so you see this guy who's right behind the maid? He is wearing a wing collar and a white bow tie. And Emma, a Victorian Romance, is set towards the end of the 19th century, so towards the end of the Victorian era. White tie and tails, excuse me. During the Victorian era, white tie and tails was a dress code that did exist, so...
This is a chalk striped tail in black and white, silky, and it looks killer. I think there's a few bows a man can wear.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with any of these guys, but these are not tuxedos. I kind of like the red jacket in the middle with the black peak lapels. I kind of like that, but damn.
Pussy bow or bow tie.
Ah, now these guys, I like what these guys are wearing. Although the guy on the left here, his lapels are not of a contrasting facing. The guy in the middle, he's got a white trim around his lapels, and the I think it's actually towards the split in the area where the closure buttons are. I think I don't remember what that section of the jacket is called. But just to give you an idea, I'm just going to say mid-forearm. So, yeah, he's got a white trim around his lapels and mid-forearm. Kind of looks like a turn-up on a velvet dinner jacket, sort of. Actually, now that I think about it, I wonder if that's what he's wearing. I wonder if he's wearing a dinner jacket.
I guess if you skate, you can tie a bow around your waist with a shoelace. I love a pre-tied bow tie.
Okay, pre-tied bow ties. You can only get away with it if it's of a decent quality and you have the right kind of collar concealing said pre-tied bow tie. Once again, I like what Jamie... Oh! I see that Jamie Foxx is wearing a trouser with a tuxedo stripe going down the side, and it looks to be coinciding with the peak lapels on his velvet tuxedo jacket. Actually, I think that's a velvet dinner jacket, but still, I like that. And it looks like he's wearing patent leather Chelsea boots, I think. That doesn't look too bad. It's got the black bow tie. So, Jamie Foxx and this guy here on the right, yeah, I think they got it. I think they got the look down.
Only when it's sort of Lanvin, Tom Ford, big, big, big velvet. And I say that because you can't tie that. It's almost impossible to tie that into a bow tie. But generally, I don't want to see a pre-tied bow tie. I love a necktie with a tuxedo on that note. It says kind of like, you know, I'm not...
Bow ties are the only acceptable neckwear when you're wearing a tuxedo. Neckties are not acceptable unless it's black tie optional.
Trying to fussy with a bow tie, and it's still traditional. I don't want to see a tie when it should be in place of the bow tie. I want to see a tie when it works really well with the suit. And I think that's either when the guy wears a black suit instead of a tuxedo and it passes as a tuxedo. I like a tie when it's not a shawl collar, and I like a tie when it's double-breasted. If you're gonna go clip-on tie, don't leave that gap there. Fill it up. They've got adjusters. Make it tight, make it fitted. Never show that. If you're sweating a little bit, you're a little bit hot, you wanna slightly loosen it, that's my rule, and then pick it right back up so the button's open, but you're still filling that gap. No one knows that I'm breathing right now, but it's not dangled. I don't like that space right there. That's just not right. Seeing a trend of a lot of doodah.
Okay, Stephen Norfleet. I like what he's doing with his lapel decoration. I think that looks good. And throw in the fact that he's wearing a bottle green jacket with black satin peak lapels. That looks good. And I also like his bow tie. John Legend, he's looking okay. Not bad. I wonder if that lower part is part of the decoration on the upper part of the shawl collar. And my phone just buzzed. Oh, someone replied to my story. Nice. I gotta make sure to respond to that later.
Ads, I don't love it. I don't know that a tuxedo needs anything more than a flower.
Okay, Tom Ford, once again, mwah. Chef's kiss. I like what he's wearing. He's got the white pocket square, he's got a white boutonniere, he's got a white shirt with dress studs, and he's got the black bow tie. Yeah, he's looking really good. And I think Maui's getting upset again. Hold on a second. There we go. Apparently they hate it when I close doors. Because cat. Anyway. Let's get back.
Boutonniere. I don't think you need sparkle here, and you definitely don't need sparkle on both lapels. I don't think men should wear tie.
Oh, wow! Oh, wait. Okay. Henry Golding? I was about to say that he kind of elevated his look by wearing a white tie waistcoat, but then I saw that he was wearing a white bow tie. And if he's wearing a white bow tie, then he should be wearing a tailcoat instead of a velvet jacket. Paul Rudd, I like what he's wearing. This guy in the middle, 2 Chainz? I can't really read his name all that well. They should have kind of blacked out the names behind the white. I can see them better on this screen, but still, it's kind of hard to read on this monitor. But still, if you're gonna wear a velvet jacket, then the bow tie should be black. After all, I am talking about black tie tuxedos here. So...
pieces when wearing formal attire. You should have nowhere else to be but where you are. I think it's so look at me. I think there are these rules of like, where else do you have to be? And that's why you don't need a watch at a formal affair. But today, I think it's even worse because it's like these giant timepieces that take away from everything else.
Yeah, I agree with him. If you're gonna wear a timepiece with a tuxedo, it shouldn't be so big, gaudy, and distracting. You know, that's why I wear my pocket watch, because it has a chain, and it not only adds a decorative element to my tuxedo, but it also serves the function of telling me what time it is, so that, you know, if I do have somewhere else to be, or if I scheduled out certain things, then I know when I need to, you know, get going, or when something happened and I need to know what time it was when it happened, the watch will tell me. So, but yeah, I agree with this guy. It's even worse now because these days when people wear timepieces with their tuxedos, they're just so big and gaudy. I have a phone to look at the time. Yeah, that also works. But if you're gonna wear a timepiece with your tuxedo, it shouldn't be this big, gaudy thing, you know? It should be small, simple, and easy to miss. It should be easy to miss if you just take a quick glance.
Whether it's black, midnight blue, navy, brown, doesn't matter. I'm seeing a trend I don't really...
Yeah. Going sockless with your tuxedos, just no. No. You should be wearing dress socks. Like, it could be black, it could be red, it could have 2 colors, it could be purple and orange, it could be yellow and green, it could be blue and red, it could be just solid white, just like my usual casual outfits, but going sockless with a tuxedo, just no. Show a little ankle as a tease for the ladies. Well, that's not a good look for a tuxedo. This guy on the left, it looks like he's wearing velvet slippers. This guy on the left, I think those are tassels. This guy on the right, he's wearing capless Oxfords in patent leather. That is a good shoe for a tuxedo, but come on, guys. Put your socks on. You're gonna stink up your shoe that way. Also, he's got flaps on his jacket. Again, you want jetted pockets. No flaps on your pockets if you're wearing a tuxedo.
Love in evening wear where it's sockless. There's a special hosiery for black tie, and it's a very, very fine sock. Doesn't have to be from France, but it's a fine sock. I love a red sock black tie because it gives it a little pop. I actually love purple or any shade of lavender, lilac, sugar for another pop of color. But sockless is a little weird to me. If the trouser meets the shoe, forget how low it meets the shoe, but if it meets the shoe, we don't have to see your fun socks, look at me socks, your go to hell socks, you socks. We don't need to see it, and that's great. But the minute it's cropped at all, there's that pop of red. That's not a pop anymore. When I say a pop of red, I mean, if you cross your legs, there it is. It's not when you're standing up, there it is. It should be subtle. These are things for you, for those that are near and dear to you. They're subtleties. In the way of shoes, I guess there's evening pumps.
Evening pumps. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier when I said opera pumps. This person skimmed on the socks, but still, opera pumps, that is a good shoe for a black tie tuxedo. And you can also wear it for white tie as well.
Which we're not seeing that much. A more modern evening pump, which I actually love, is the Belgian loafer. The Belgian shoe is a great bow. It's a bow that's barely there. I love the Belgian for black tie. I think it's a do-it-all shoe, actually. I think it works with shorts and a t-shirt. I think it works really well black tie. Sneakers, I think, is a no-go when we're talking classic tux.
I agree. You don't wear sneakers with a tuxedo. Hence why I'm wearing my calfskin leather Oxfords.
And it's tricky, you know, most guys, they don't have a tuxedo. So they're either borrowing one, renting one, getting one last minute. I might never wear this again, so I don't want to buy $450 English Benchmade shoes. Guess what? You need them. You don't have to be patent leather. They can be brogues, they can be wingtips, but it shouldn't be a penny loafer, and it shouldn't be a beat-up shoe. There's something really, really elegant about...
Okay, I kind of like these. Okay, I was right about Chris Tucker. Of all of these, I think Tyrese's jacket looks the best. DJ Cassidy, I'll give him some leeway. I do like how his bow tie goes from lapel to lapel. I like his pocket square matching the lapels because it kind of fits with the whole black and white scheme. And I think cats are making a mess. Mark Ronson, I'm not sure what's going on with him.
Wearing a white tuxedo jacket with black pants. You gotta be really, really careful. You can't rub up against a cake. You can't hug up on people with makeup. You really gotta stand your own in white. And it's very standout. When people are wearing black tie and you're in white, it really stands out. I love how Cassidy wore the hat with it. You know, black tie with a hat, it's not easy. It's not easy. Cassidy generally has hats. I don't want to say they're wearing him, but they're loud. They're out there. And I like this sort of anti-fit jacket. And I'm curious if it was created like that or not. It's sort of like a waiter at the Palms restaurant. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's sort of like a one-size-fits-most jacket. I like how it's with ballet slippers, velvet slippers. I like that you actually can't see the shirt cuff coming out. It's kind of breaking a bunch of rules. What I like most, actually, is how the bow tie goes collar to collar. It's filling up the whole gap. There's no Pee Wee Herman reference. There's no clown reference. It's actually just perfect. The navy tux is a beautiful thing. It keeps it interesting in a sea of black when, sure, we're in a time where there's not a lot of black tuxedos in general out there in these award ceremonies, but navy keeps it fresh and it makes you look twice. Ooh, he's not wearing black, he's daring. And it's still conservative, it still kind of blends in and it's still...
Okay, I like, Shamier Anderson? Shamier? However it's pronounced. I like what he's wearing. For the most part. The jacket has 2 buttons. That's definitely a detractor, but I like the decoration he has on his lapel. The vest, it's coming up too high. You definitely want to go a lot lower. You definitely want an evening waistcoat. I do like that I like how his jacket, his vest, and his trousers are all matching. So I'll give him credit for that. Jermaine Dupree? I think it's Dupree. I like what's going on with him. His waistcoat and jacket are matching, but his trousers are black, and his lapels are black satin. I like his bow tie. Eugene Levy, Yeah, I'd say his tuxedo is good. Um, yeah, I like these. What is your tuxedo for? Uh, it's December 1st, the first day of the last month of the year, and I figured, hey, why not do something different? You know, just shake things up a little. Um, so I'm looking at tuxedos, and since I'm also going to be exporting my stream to YouTube, um, there might be some people who are going to want some input on, you know, special occasions, uh, how they should wear a tuxedo, and I'm also going to give my input on how I wear my tuxedo, and you know, just give them ideas. Like, there are certain things that you can variate on, but generally speaking, uh, there is a gold standard for a tuxedo, but there's still some things that you can variate on, but not too much, because if you go too far, it'll be a faux pas and it won't look all that good.
It's still really dark. Black tie and black shoes with navy is so beautiful. When we went from black tie to a lot of midnight blues and weird shades of blue, after that I think the next step was just colors. Pinks and mauves and natural and all kinds.
Oh, Zion Williamson. I like what he's wearing. I think that's totally epic. Just mwah. Of course, that could just be my bias because it's a shade of red, and red is my absolute favorite color. Dwight Howard, I'll give him credit for being quite daring wearing pink like that. 2 Chainz, maybe for creative black tie, I can see that working, but for a regular black tie event, I think that's a bit too loud, and I'm not sure if that's hurting my eyes or if my eyes are just drying out. So,
Kinds of, you know, ice blue and
oh, now the velvet jackets in the middle and on the right, I like those. Those are very nice jackets. The green one on the left here, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that, but maybe for a creative black tie event, I can see that working, but he's not wearing a bow tie. I do like how the middle and the right side guy are wearing black bow ties with their velvet jackets. And those two are actually following the lapel rule that I keep stressing over and over again. With tuxedos, you have either a peak lapel or a shawl collar.
all colors in the tuxedo, and at a time when men don't own pink and women don't own blue, and you know, every color's for everyone and fabrics are for everyone, silhouettes are for everyone. I would like to see more colorful tuxedos, but I think when you're going color, that's when you have to go more classic with the fit.
Wait, that's Usher? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he had hair, but to be fair, whenever I see him, he usually has a baseball hat on. But to be fair, I'm not really much of an Usher fan. The only thing I know of Usher was his song Yeah with Lil Jon and Ludacris. I think their names are. I don't like that he's wearing a notch lapel. That's just a no-go for me.
The shine should be shiny, but not too much sheen. A little bit of a sheen is great. A lot of a sheen.
Okay, this tuxedo here, I like that. I'm trying to remember. I think it has I think it's some sort of dinner jacket. I can't remember what. Damn it, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
I think it's just too much in any light. Indoor, outdoor, prom, carpet. I think it's just a lot. To see a brown tuxedo or a black shawl collar in silk with a brown tuxedo, that's a beautiful, beautiful combination. If it's
I
a
agree.
dark,
Charlie Heaton. I like what Charlie Heaton is wearing here. I love it. It's the right shade of brown to go with the black shawl collar, the black bow tie, and his black trousers. That is fantastic.
brown tuxedo, on the money. One thing I really would love to see with a brown tuxedo is a black tie.
Okay, Daniel Levy. Again, kudos. I love that. Plus 6 buttons that button on 2. That is excellent. I love that.
Love the contrast. Even if the lapel is not black and the whole tuxedo is brown, I still love the contrast of black tie, keeping it black. I like that with navy. I almost like that with any color tuxedo. Velvet, I see a lot of velvet tuxedos.
Oh my god. Jason Momoa. Okay. I like that his jacket is a it has a black shawl collar, and he actually does have the black tuxedo stripe going down the side. And I like that his jacket and trousers are matching. But I don't like that he has flaps on his jacket. It's a 2-button closure, and I don't like that he skipped the black bow tie. I'm sorry, but that is... I probably should have been giving number ratings.
And I wonder how hot they must be. It seems like they're in the warmer months and they're still wearing velvet. That drives me crazy, but if they're comfortable and the air conditioning's pumping in there, by all means, go for it. Velvet shows its wear a lot more, kind of like a moleskin, kind of like the suit I'm wearing. After, a half hour or some time sitting there, walking, getting out of the car, it shows its wear. So that's one thing you have to be really careful about with velvet.
Yeah, this is true. I like the way most of these look. Edgar Ramirez, I love his jacket. That is absolutely wonderful. Although I think the red could be darker, but still, these velvet jackets, they look amazing.
You don't want to walk like this and crispy, but at the same time, that better be nice cotton velvet or velvet sateen where it wears nicely. If money is no object, I think that's the term, if you could spend anything on your tuxedo, I'd go to maybe Paul Stewart in the United States, maybe Turnbull and Asser in England. And I say that because when you go to these establishments, and these stores to me are establishments, they've been around for a while, they're not pop-ups by any means. They've been doing this for a long time. Turnbull and probably Paul Stewart, they have rooms in the store for evening wear. You sit down in a plush chair, you have your own dressing room, and you get fitted and you feel like a king. And you might even walk out with not just a tuxedo, but a smoking jacket.
Well, it was fun to look at all that. Let's see, there was another thing that I wanted to look at, or that I wanted to go over with all of you, because some people might not have all that money to spend on a tuxedo, and plus, sometimes a matching set tuxedo is really hard to find. So sometimes you may have to pair it with something else. Hold on. Tuxedo. I think Norris Dantaford did yep. So, right here, Norris Dantaford actually did a little video on how to get a tuxedo look at an affordable price.
Hey, what's up? This is Norris and welcome back to my style channel. Today I'm going to show you a very inexpensive way to get a tuxedo look. Now when you think of a tuxedo look, you're thinking about a matching set, the pants and the jacket. Now I'm going to show you a cool, easy way on how to get that look without spending that much money. Now the most important items in the tuxedo look is the jacket and the shirt. Now the jacket you can pretty much find in almost any fast fashion store like Zara and H&M. Depending on the season, they usually drop a limited collection in every season. So if you're shopping in those stores and you want to spend that money between 60 to 75 bucks, you can pretty much get a nice tuxedo jacket. But you can also go to a vintage store and spend less money but get it tailored to your fitting, and you will have that same look too.
This is true. Sometimes you can find a really nice jacket at a vintage store for a fraction of the price that you would normally have to pay in order to get a matching set. Could be like 10% of the price, it could be 25%, maybe even as low as 5%, but going to a vintage store like Value Village, Goodwill, or any kind of thrift store for that matter, sometimes you'll get lucky and find a really nice tuxedo jacket.
Also with the jacket, if you don't know, what makes a jacket, a tuxedo jacket, is the satin lapels that you see that are different from the fabric on the jacket.
And it doesn't always have to be satin. As I mentioned about an hour and 45 minutes ago, the lapel facing, it's faced with silk, but it doesn't have to be satin. It doesn't have to be satin specifically. It could be grosgrain, just something that is in contrast to the rest of the jacket's fabric. So, yeah. So far, he's mostly right.
Now, not in all cases, but in most cases, you have that satin lapel that matches with the same color or coordinated color for the jacket.
I think my cats are getting rowdy again. Hold on a second. And my hunch was right. They were rifling through the pattern paper that I had on my desk. So.
Alright, now the tuxedo shirt. Now you can find almost any tuxedo shirt in a fast fashion store like Zara and H&M, but it's going to be seasonal. They don't do it all season long, and they do it on very small runs in those collections. To identify those shirts, you have to see the style. Most tuxedo shirts have some type of ruffle or pleats right here in the chest area, and also the buttons. Sometimes they don't put the clear white buttons, they'll put the black buttons indicating studs that actually comes with a formal dress shirt. Now, if you do want a formal dress shirt, some of those stores don't really sell them. You might want to go to a vintage store to get a formal dress shirt and just get it tapered up, because those come super big. You can also identify a tuxedo shirt by the collar. Sometimes it will have a regular collar on it, but in some cases you might get a wingtip collar like this one right here. And I got this specific shirt from Zara. So depending on the season and also the designer, you'll get a few different variety of tuxedo shirts here and there. So once again, you can find a tuxedo shirt in fast fashion stores, but if you want to get a more traditional tuxedo shirt, you can always find them in the vintage stores. So after you get your jacket and shirt, you're gonna need a bow tie. You can coordinate the color of the bow tie with the tuxedo jacket that you're wearing. In most cases, black is pretty much going to match all across the board. But if you experiment with the color of the shirt or color with the jacket, it's not a bad idea to coordinate that color with your bow tie. Okay, now that we have the jacket and the shirt out the way, we're gonna start creating the full tuxedo look. Now, I would only recommend 3 colors if you're new to this: gray, navy, or black. If you're doing the same color pants that you have in your tuxedo jacket, if it don't match exactly, don't do it. For instance, if you have a black jacket and you want to wear your black pants, if the blacks are 2 different colors, you want to go with maybe a gray or a navy pair of pants to go with your black jacket. And that pretty much goes for all the colors. Now in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to rock a tuxedo look by using denim jeans. Okay, so first I'm going to start with my slim black denim jeans in my black Chelsea boots. Now this is a real chic look.
Okay. This is probably going to be small in the grand scheme of things, but I don't like that he has a tear in his left knee. In my opinion, torn pants kind of just ruins the whole aesthetic. So if you're going to wear just regular pants with a tuxedo jacket, make sure your trousers don't have any holes in them. I think it would have done him good if he stitched that hole shut. But that's just me.
It's not sloppy. The pants are very slim and fitted, and my boots are clean with no extra detail.
I like his Chelsea boots. The boots do look good.
Also, as you can see, I'm wearing a gray undershirt. Now, this gray undershirt is pretty much an all-purpose rule whenever you're wearing a white dress shirt. Next, I'm gonna add my shirt and my bow tie, and also tuck my shirt in so I can have.
Yeah, like I said before, you definitely should be tucking in your shirt. Now, I think what would have helped pull this whole thing together is if he wore a cummerbund. Again, I'm not a fan of cummerbunds personally, but I think in this case, a cummerbund would have helped him go a bit further.
A clean look. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to add my jacket, which completes my tuxedo look. Now, you don't have to add any type of color in your pocket square. I would just go with white if you're doing a black tuxedo look. My personal preference is have a little color here in my pocket square just to give some detail up here on my chest. And other than that, you're all done. All right, thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you the next time you have an event to go to and you have no idea what a black tie is and how to create the look, and also with a very small budget. Remember to like, comment, and also subscribe. See you next time.
Okay, now, even though I hate the fact that he has a tear in the left knee of his jeans, you gotta admit, that's actually not a bad look. I mean, it's a very cost-effective way to get the look of a tuxedo without spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars. I mean, for less than $100, I made my tuxedo jacket, my tuxedo waistcoat, my tuxedo trousers, and my black tailcoat, as well as the high-waisted trousers for that. So, yeah, just something to think about. The Chelsea boots are a nice, contrast to all that patent leather, but still, you definitely want to go with patent leather shoes, but the Chelsea boots are a nice substitute. And I'm not sure if those are real pockets, but if those are real pockets, then you should definitely tuck the flap in. And you could probably see better over here on the right. You can still see the closure button of the jeans. I think he would have gone a bit further if he wore a cummerbund to cover the waistline of his jeans, but other than that, it's still a nice little DIY hack to get the look of a tuxedo without breaking the bank. So, yeah, if you want to put together a cost-effective tuxedo, this may be your way to go. Okay, rental tuxedos. The Gentleman's Gazette is where I get a lot of my information from. And I think the cats are trying to get back into my room. Wow. These cats, I tell ya. Now, I'm gonna double check Twitch real quick. Ah. I see. So, the Gentleman's Gazette is where I got most of the information for Black Tie and White Tie, but there are some channels that Black Tie Tuxedo. Let's see. Let's see. Alright, let's take a look at
Okay, if you're going to be wearing a tuxedo, there are some key decisions you have to make when it comes to a few specific styling details. These are important to pay attention to because these details have a huge effect on the look, feel, and overall vibe of your tuxedo. So in this video, I'm going to explain 10 specific tuxedo details. I'll introduce you to the terms you need to know, lay out the various options you have, talk about why you might choose one of those options over the other, and give you some things to always look for, as well as some things to avoid. We're going to quickly make you an expert here so you can make choices that best represent your personality and your personal style, and the result is that you will not only look great in your tux, but that you will feel comfortable and confident as well. We're going to start off with the tuxedo jacket, and the first thing to consider is the style of the lapel. The lapel is the most distinguishing feature of a tuxedo, and there are 3 different lapel styles: a notch lapel, a peaked lapel, and a shawl lapel. A peaked lapel extends upwards and forms a peak that points towards the shoulders, thus the name peaked lapel. This is going to be the most classic and timeless choice for a tuxedo jacket, never a bad option. A shawl lapel has a rounded shape, and while it still has the same level of elegance and formality as a peaked lapel, I would say that there is a little bit of a relaxed sophistication to a shawl lapel. So if you want that sort of casually elegant vibe, a shawl lapel is a great choice. A notch lapel is fairly uncommon for modern tuxedos. It is one of the most common and versatile lapel styles for suit jackets, but for my taste, it doesn't quite match the level of formality and elegance of a tuxedo, so it's not an option that I would recommend. Detail number 2 is the lapel fabric. So you've got 2 options here: satin or grosgrain. A satin lapel is going to have a smooth and shiny appearance. A grosgrain lapel is slightly ribbed, so it has a textured and less shiny appearance. Both of these lapel fabric options are extremely classic, so there is no wrong choice here. However,
That is true. Grosgrain does have a ribbed texture to it. I remember going to one of my favorite thrift stores a while back. There was a double-breasted tuxedo available, but I passed on that because it was too small for me. But it did have the grosgrain lapels, and I thought it was interesting. So, yeah, there is a lot of truth to what he's saying. Going back to the lapel thing, I I'm probably never going to shut up about this. Never get a notched lapel tuxedo. Notched lapels are completely informal. They're not appropriate for... Hello there. That's some that I've been dealing with for the better part of the last few months. November was a really rough spot, and I got stuck with 2 more cats. But that's not the point of this stream. Anyway, going back to what I was saying. You want either peak lapels or a shawl collar. Never a notched lapel for a tuxedo. Notched lapels are not appropriate for formal attire.
However, if you opt for a shawl collar, you're going to want to choose a satin lapel. Detail number 3 is the lapel width. The width of your lapel should be proportional to 2 things: the width of your body and the width of your face. So if you're a broader guy, the lapel should be wider. If you're a narrower guy, the lapel should be slimmer. This is extremely important because for a tuxedo to look perfect, everything needs to be balanced, and nothing can throw off that balance more than a lapel that's the wrong size. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is to wear a jacket with a lapel that is too narrow. So generally speaking, the safe zone for a proper lapel width is 3.5 to 4 inches for a peak lapel and 3 to 3.5 inches for a shawl lapel. Detail number 4 is deciding between a single-breasted jacket or a double-breasted jacket.
I probably talked about that before, but I'll say it again. Double-breasted jackets, at least for a tuxedo, those look good. Oh, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this. If you wear a double-breasted tuxedo jacket, then you can skip the waist coverings, because with a double-breasted jacket, you would keep it buttoned all the time anyway. So, yeah. But if you're gonna have a double-breasted tuxedo jacket, you definitely want to cut open the boutonniere hole on your jacket's lapel, because that is not only how you would attach a boutonniere, but it's also one of the ways to secure a pocket watch. Yep. Let me pull my watch out for a second, just so I can demonstrate. Now, I don't have the clasp ending, but in the absence of a waistcoat, the pocket watch would go into your breast pocket, and then the T-bar or something would go through the boutonniere hole on the jacket's lapel and twist so that it would be secured, and it would give a look... Hold on. Let me switch the screens. It would look something similar to that. But personally, I prefer wearing my pocket watch with my waistcoat. Because the chain just makes the waistcoat look more interesting, at least in my opinion. So,
single-breasted jacket is going to be your most classic, traditional, and conservative choice. Going to look good no matter what.
Sorry to pause it again so quick, but I don't like that he's not wearing... Rowdy cats. Anyway, I don't like that he's not wearing a waist covering. I mean, come on, guy. At least wear a vest or something.
A double-breasted jacket with its overlapping fabric and 2 sets of buttons is also very classic, though it definitely has a more formal appearance. Ultimately, the choice comes down to your personal preference, your personal style, and most importantly, your personal comfort zone. If you've never worn a double-breasted jacket before and are kind of on the fence about it, I would advise you to choose a single-breasted jacket. On your wedding day, you want to feel comfortable and confident, and if you're doing something new and outside of your comfort zone, that's going to affect how you carry yourself. Detail number 5 is the pocket style. Now, there is only one acceptable pocket style for a tuxedo, and that is a jetted pocket. A jetted pocket is just a very simple and clean line as opposed to the flat pocket or the patch pocket.
This is true. That's why I have jetted pockets on my tuxedo jacket, because it's the only acceptable option, and it looks really good. Of course, I could just be saying that because I made this jacket, but still, I don't like the patchwork pockets too much. I mean, I was okay with them when I was younger, but these days, not so much.
And the jetted pockets trim should match the fabric of the lapel. Detail number 6, the buttons, or I should say, the button. So while most suits will have 2 buttons, sometimes 3, a single-breasted tuxedo has only 1 button, and a double-breasted tuxedo with a peak lapel, 4 or 6 buttons, a shawl lapel, 2 or 4 buttons. And once again, just like the trim around the pocket, the buttons facing, or the fabric that's around the button, should match the fabric of the lapel. Detail number 7 is the jacket vent. A vent refers to the opening on the bottom back of the jacket, and you've got 3 options for jacket vents: no vent, a single vent, or a double vent. A jacket with no vent is going to be the most traditional and old school option. A single vent, meaning just a single slit in the center, is pretty uncommon for a tuxedo jacket and not what I would recommend. And a double vent, where you've got openings on both sides, is the most modern and updated choice.
Personally, I would choose the ventless because it hugs the body, and it also helps me feel more secure when I'm wearing the tuxedo. However, if you want vents in your jacket, the double side vent, never a center vent. The center vent, if I remember, comes from horseback riding, and that's not really something that you do in a tuxedo, last I checked.
So if you want that classic, old school kind of vibe, I would go with no vent. But if you consider your style to be classic with a modern sensibility, I would choose a double vent. Now we're going to move on to the pants, and detail number 8, side adjusters. Tuxedo pants do not have belt loops, and if your tuxedo pants do have belt loops, they're not tuxedo pants. In order to keep that simple and elegant look, tuxedo pants have side adjusters. You use the side adjusters to make fine adjustments to the waist size by either loosening or tightening them. Detail number 9 is the fabric stripe down the side of the pants. Again, if your tuxedo pants don't have this feature, they're not tuxedo pants. And just like the pocket trim and button facing, the fabric of the stripe should match the fabric of the lapel. And finally, detail number 10 is the bottom finishing. Tuxedo pants should always have a plain bottom. The clean line matches the simplicity and elegance of the tuxedo, and it's the most formal way to finish the bottom of the pants.
That is why I decided to have a lining in my tuxedo trousers, because when I stitch the bottom hem into place, you can't see the stitching from the outside because I'm only focusing on stitching the bottom hem to the lining part, not the actual fabric of the trousers. So, yeah. No stitches visible on the bottom of these tuxedo pants.
So there you have it. Those are the 10 specific styling details that you need to consider when it comes to choosing your tux. Understanding these and paying attention to them will really help you nail the style that you're going for, resulting in you both looking great and feeling great. We're going to be diving into some of the other individual components of a complete tuxedo look next, and if you have any questions about these details, let me know.
So yeah, that is a pretty good guide. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, why don't we just watch the... God damn this stubble. Sorry. All this neck stubble just makes my neck itchy. Anyway.
Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. Today's video is all about black tie. I discuss tuxedos in depth because it's a topic that's very dear to my heart, and I see a lot of men committing a lot of mistakes, and it's a dress code dictated by lots of rules, so it's particularly important to understand what looks good and what is adequate and what is not. For most men, a black tie ensemble is the most formal thing they'll ever wear. However, unlike in modern day wear, it's really dictated by rules that matter a lot. At the end of the day, you never want to look like a typical prom student in his rented tuxedo.
Okay. I don't know where he found this image from, but yeah, you definitely don't want to be doing anything that any of these guys are doing if you're going to be wearing a tuxedo or want to have the look of a tuxedo. Although this guy right here, I like how he has peak lapels. I think this guy has peak lapels too, but their bow ties are kind of a grayish silver, and this guy's pants isn't all the way behind the vest. Like, his shirt is peeking. I like how this guy's vest is covering the waistline, but I don't like that he's wearing a silver bow tie. I have no idea what happened to this guy's jacket, but I do like that he's wearing a waistcoat at least. Yeah.
Because that's just embarrassing. Instead, in this video, I broke everything down step by step so you can look at least as good as James Bond in his tuxedo. First up, let's talk about the jacket. It seems like a very simple black one, however, it has very distinct features and a lot of people get it wrong, especially in Hollywood today. The classic choice for a fabric is a black wool barathea, which is a little more matte, and alternatively, you can opt for something navy or a very dark blue, maybe with a herringbone weave. Some people even go with a fine twill weave or a plain weave. Sometimes people add a little bit of mohair to the fabric, which adds some sparkle, which is particularly well suited for evening wear. If you see synthetic blends or any kind of nylon or polyester, stay clear of it, because you'll sweat and it's going to be uncomfortable and you won't look dapper. The gold standard for tuxedo fabrics is 100% wool. Make sure it's not too thick and heavy, otherwise you'll easily overheat. In terms of styling, the most classic option is what I'm wearing here right now. It is a single button jacket, which is like single-breasted with just one button. Then you have a peak lapel, because that's more formal than a notched lapel. Today, you oftentimes see men with a notched lapel tuxedo, however that's incorrect and should never be worn.
Yeah, I agree. And funny thing, I actually do have a notched lapel jacket with a satin lapel. I only wear that when it's not a formal occasion. If it is a formal occasion, I'm going to either wear this or my white tie and tails. But still, a notched lapel tuxedo, no, you shouldn't wear that.
An alternative to it would be a shawl collar, likewise with a single button, or you can have a double-breasted jacket with a shawl collar. Typically, it's a 4-button jacket that's just buttoned on one, and you can also have it with peak lapels. So keep in mind, peak lapels or shawl collars are the only acceptable options for black tie. Sometimes you may see 6 buttons that button on one or 6 buttons that button on two, but that's the exception to the rule. The most traditional jacket has no vents, which is unusual today because most jackets have either side vents or center vents. The center vent comes from horseback riding. The side vents are more comfortable when you stand, but for evening wear, you go for the ultimate look, and the ventless is just the best because it really hugs your body and looks awesome. The most traditional pocket style is jetted pockets. You have one on the right, one on the left, no ticket pocket, and sometimes you see men with flat pockets. However, that's a detail from day wear and not suited to evening wear. In terms of buttons, you want black matching buttons that are either covered in the same fabric as your tuxedo or the silk, or you go with a contrasting black button, sometimes with some decorations. Stay clear from contrasting plastic buttons or horn buttons or buttons in a different color that really stand out. Now your lapels are not just regular lapels, but they're faced with silk. The most classic option is to go with satin, but you can also have a rep silk or a grosgrain or a barathea.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You can also
Go back.
have
Go
a
back.
rep silk or a grosgrain.
Okay, that texture right there. I mentioned the tuxedo that I saw at the thrift store that was too small for me. That is the texture that was on the lapels of that jacket. I recognize it, and again, I went with satin because I prefer satin. The grosgrain was okay, but I didn't like that texture too much. So, but hey, if you like grosgrain, go ahead. But I should also note, I'm not sure if I've already said this, but the facing on your lapels and the side stripe on your trousers, they should be made from the same material. So they should match. If they don't match, it could be going into faux pas territory. So just keep that in mind.
Or a barathea, which is a little more matte than the satin, or any other kind. Ideally, you also want a buttonhole in your lapel, so you can have a beautiful boutonniere, which is particularly well suited for evening wear. Of course, you also want a chest pocket for your pocket square, and if you wear boutonniere, go with a simple, plain white linen pocket square. Otherwise, you could also opt for maybe a solid colored red, maybe purple, or maybe yellow pocket square in silk. So let's talk about the details to avoid in the tuxedo jacket. First of all, you do not want a flannel material, you want a worsted or wool with some mohair. Second, avoid notched lapels because they're not suited for black tie. For the same reason, avoid any 2-button or 3-button single-breasted jackets because that's for day wear. Also, avoid side vents and center vents because that's historically incorrect for black tie. And for the same reason, don't go with flaps on your pockets. Moreover, go for straight jacket pockets, not angled ones, because it would be too sporty. Now, for the trousers and the pants, you want a matching material to the jacket in the same color. Now, obviously, we're not talking about contrasting dinner jackets here, and if you want to learn more about those, please check out our in-depth guide and video here. Because you want a matching pair, you should usually buy these items together. Trying to find a matching jacket and a pair of pants that are from different sources is almost impossible. Yes, the color is black, but the texture and the weave and the feel of the fabric is different, so it won't work together. Therefore, never buy your pants and your tuxedo jacket separately or try to match them afterwards. It's gonna go wrong.
Accurate. This is 100% true.
The special hallmark of the black tie trouser is a strip of fabric on the side, which is also called galon. It can either be a white strip that's the same material as your lapel, in this case satin, or it can have a decorative woven braid. It's important. For black tie, you only have one galon, one stripe. For white tie, you have two. Another important detail is that black tie pants are never worn with a belt because the belt is not suited for evening wear, and instead you either have suspenders or braces or side adjusters. To cover your waistband, you have two options. One is to wear a waistcoat, which I'm wearing here right now. The other one is to wear a cummerbund, which we offer here from Fort Belvedere. Ideally, they're adjustable, so no matter if you sit or if you dance, it's always comfortable. And you want a little loop in the back so you can hook it into the button of your pants so it doesn't move around and you always look spot on. Your cummerbund should match your bow tie. Traditionally, it also matches your lapels, but those rules are a little more relaxed. And if you want to learn how to find the best black bow tie and cummerbund, please check out this guide here. Now, as a black tie connoisseur, you want your pants to have the perfect length because if they're too long, it just looks sloppy. To get that, I personally prefer my bottom hem to be angled, and it should never have any cuffs or turn-ups because that would be too informal and wrong. To learn more about that, please check out our in-depth guide about pants breaks here. When it comes to your evening vest, they're very different from your day vest. They have a much deeper cutout, so you see more of your shirt front and the studs in your shirt or the front. Most of the time, you see vests that are cut like day vests, and it's the hallmark of someone who doesn't know anything about black tie. Every vest I've ever seen from a rental place is a daywear vest, and it just looks like that from a mile away. So stay clear. When you wear your cummerbund, you want to make sure that the pleats face upwards, not downwards. Otherwise, it would be considered to be a faux pas, and people would know that you don't know anything about black tie. For a good selection of different cummerbunds that match their bow ties, please take a look at our shop here. If you want even more details about black tie waistcoats, please check out our free PDF guide that you can download on our website here. Next up, let's take a closer look at a tuxedo shirt. It looks like a regular white shirt, but it is not. It's made of a white fabric, usually broadcloth or poplin, maybe even twill, and it always has an insert. It can either be a Marcella or a piqué cotton bib insert, it can be a pleated front, or sometimes just a finely woven pattern. Don't wear any regular white shirt, it's not gonna cut it, because you can actually see the buttons, which is not something you want in a tuxedo shirt. Either you have decorative studs, or you have a hidden fly. Personally, I much prefer the studs, because it's not something you wear otherwise, and it makes black tie even more distinct. Some people who are a little more simplistic prefer a hidden fly. The choice is yours. 100 years ago, men would wear stiff detachable collar shirts for evening wear, but the Prince of Wales and later the Duke of Windsor decided he wanted something softer, and so he was a big proponent of a soft turn-on collar shirt with a French cuff that was doubled and folded over, and most importantly, not starched. So today, if you wear a white tie, you have the old school shirt with detachable collar that is starched, and for black tie, you wear a softer version. However, sometimes vintage lovers wear a white stiff collar shirt paired with a white waistcoat that is from white tie, simply to kind of elevate their black tie outfit, but that's something quite advanced and you hardly ever see unless people really know what they do. Now, let's talk about the centerpiece of the ensemble, the black bow tie. It's called black tie, but that means black bow tie. You never wear a black necktie, that would be incorrect. The only acceptable color is black, and you can go with different shapes and textures. And to learn more about which black bow tie works best for you, please check out our in-depth guide here. Sometimes you can see people who wear a red bow tie with a red cummerbund and a matching red pocket square. These things are very gaudy, and it's a hallmark of someone who is just not really into clothes, but who wants some attention and tries to get it that way. But someone who really understands the rules in black tie will always frown upon that. In terms of shoes, traditionally men would wear patent leather shoes, which is shiny black leather, and the only two options were a capless Oxford shoe that was laced, or opera pumps, also known as court shoes, with a deep cutout and a bow in front. Both of these are very elegant. However, if you rarely wear black tie and you want to get more use out of your shoes, you can also get a capless black leather shoe and then polish it so there's a beautiful shine, and that way you can wear it not just for black tie but also with your business suit. In any case, try to stay clear from any form of cap toe, any form of broguing, because that would make it less formal. For the same reason, no wingtips. And of course, the only acceptable color for a black tie shoe is black. Don't go with brown, red, or any other items, and likewise skip anything like a monk strap. You really only can go with the Oxford that is capless and the court shoe. Sometimes you can also see men wearing velvet slippers. Now that's something I personally only wear in the comfort of my own home, maybe wearing a velvet dinner jacket, but it's not a traditional look that is appropriate for black tie in public. You want to make sure that your black tie shoes have a thin leather sole and no rubber, because leather is more formal and has a nicer sound, and rubber is just very uncomfortable when you dance. You also want to shy away from any boxy-toed shoes with big seams. Instead, go for a chisel toe or a nice rounded toe, just a classic look. To learn more about Oxfords, you can check out our Oxford guide on our website. Of course, we put all these details together in our free PDF guide, which you can get on our website here. In terms of black tie accessories, you want to have black silk socks that are over the calf. And I always had a hard time finding exactly the ones I wanted that would stay up, so I designed them myself, and you can take a closer look at them here. Colorful silk socks are one of those few things that can help you stand out with black tie, just like your pocket square is. For that reason, you can opt for something in red, maybe purple, maybe green, or any other color that you want. However, I'd urge you to stay with maybe just one color or two at the maximum. Definitely avoid crazy socks or any like really bold patterns such as neon pink or yellow. For cufflinks, black tie items were usually black, such as onyx or abalone, and sometimes they would come in as a matching set with your shirt studs. Personally, I also like to wear white mother of pearl studs because it just provides a different look, and it's something that comes from white tie and it's just a little bit more formal. Of course, you can also find other sets with precious and semi-precious stones and usually they're quite expensive. If you want to splurge on that, go for it. This is your time to shine. Again, don't wear belts, but you can have a pair of suspenders that ensure that your pants stay at the right height all night long, no matter if you sit, dance, or do anything else. For boutonnieres, the most classic choice are carnations. Right now here I'm wearing a smaller one, mid-sized in dark purple. Most classic would be white or red, but you can also go with pink or white or any other color for that matter that suits you. To keep my flowers from wilting and to be able to wear them on a cruise ship, I designed my silk flowers that look like that all day, every day, 365 days of the year. And if you want to check out any of those accessories, please head over to our website where we have a good selection of them. If you wear a boutonniere, make sure you wear the stem through the buttonhole of your lapel, and if it's not cut or it doesn't have a buttonhole, don't wear one. Pinning one on to your tuxedo just looks garish and like someone who really doesn't know what he's doing. Now, basically these are all the elements of a classic black tie tuxedo outfit. If it's very cold outside in the winter, you may want to add a white silk scarf, or you can have a white and black one. When you toss the scarf around your shoulder, it looks very elegant and it keeps you warm at the same time. In combination, you can add an evening overcoat, which is a black overcoat with one buttoning point and peak lapels that are faced with silk, and the entire thing is lined with silk. However, most people have very little use for that, and for that reason, evening overcoats are hardly seen anymore. Instead, you can go with a dark, either black or navy blue double-breasted or single-breasted overcoat, ideally one with peak lapels. To top it off, you can wear a hat. The perfect hat would be a Homburg hat because it has the right degree of formality. Definitely avoid a top hat or an opera hat because they're too formal and they only go with white tie. Last but not least, if you get cold fingers, consider a pair of white gloves, but I would always take them off when I'm inside and only wear them with my overcoat or evening overcoat. It definitely provides you a very dapper look that screams elegance. Now, if you live in a warmer climate, if you go on a cruise or to a destination wedding, black tie rules are a little different. For more details, please check out our free in-depth PDF guide on our website.
So, there you go. Let's see. Are there any other black tie videos that...
Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno. I'm the founder of Real Men, Real Style. Today I'm going to be speaking with you about how to properly wear black tie, how to properly wear a tuxedo. If you haven't already, make sure to go check out the article over at The Art of Manliness. That's what this video is based off of. In that article, it's 3,000 words long. I give you visual representations of everything I'm going to speak about. In addition, I go into a lot more detail. So if you enjoy this video, go check out the article. Okay, so I want to start off with black tie, and I want to lay out, this is very easy. And the reason black tie is easy, the reason it's easy to actually wear a tuxedo is the rules are very clearly laid out. When you think about business casual, the rules are all over the place. When you think of casual wear, the rules are all over the place. When it comes to black tie, the rules are clearly laid out. Knowing that, a lot of men, I think there is still some confusion out there, because if you look to Hollywood, you look on television, you're going to see, or go back to your high school prom, you probably saw somebody wearing a green tuxedo. You look online, or you look at some of the movie stars, they're wearing a complete black outfit. That is not classical black tie. Classical black tie has evolved over the last 120 years, and we've seen it use the best lines to be able to get an ideal silhouette. So let's start first with the fabric, with the color. Black tie is black. In some cases, we're going to go with midnight blue. Now, midnight blue, rarely seen nowadays. You've pretty much got to get it custom made if that's going to be your tux, and I don't recommend it until maybe a second or third tuxedo if you're going to own them. I think a man should own a tuxedo, but that's for another video. So the fabric, most cases, it's going to be solid jet black. So let's talk about the individual pieces. that go with black tie. Number one, let's talk about the jacket. Okay, so right here on this jacket, you're going to see notch lapels, but peak lapels, shaw lapels are what you want to see with the tuxedo jacket. That doesn't matter if it's single-breasted or double-breasted. Single-breasted, double-breasted, doesn't matter which route you go with. I recommend single-breasted for most men. It's easier to find and you're more used to wearing it, so you're going to feel a little bit more confident pulling that off. Although if you go for a second or third jacket, why not? Go for a double-breasted. So shaw lapels, peak lapels. Those are really your two options. Don't go with the notch lapel on your black tie. Now let's go ahead and talk about the vents. The back vents, you're going to usually have side, or you're going to have no vents at all. If you've got a center vent, you want to try to avoid that. It's not a deal breaker, but if you can avoid the center vent, I would. Now the lapel facing. So we're going to take a step back, look back at the lapel. They usually, and you're going to notice, they've got a little bit of a shining facing on them, and that's going to be, it's going to be the gross gain, or it's going to be a satin. So neither one of those is fine. Most of them are going to be satin, and that's perfectly fine. And the buttons. Buttons are covered. So here on my jacket, I've got, mother of, or actually not mother of pearl, but I've got horn buttons right here. And they've got a little bit of a feel to them, that they're not covered with fabric. So on your black tie, you're going to see they're going to be covered with the same fabric that the actual suit is made from. Suit, black tie, in a sense, what a suit is it means that, and that's a good transition to the trousers, that the trousers are made from the same material. So let's quickly talk about the trousers. First thing you're going to notice on the trousers is that there is a stripe running down the outside line of the leg. Now, anyone that was in the military, especially the Marine Corps, it's basically the same position as the blood stripe is on the U.S. Marine Corps dress blue uniform. So if you want to just do a quick search, you'll be able to easily see that. Another thing with the trousers is oftentimes you're going to see they're going to be double pleated, and they are not going to have belt loops. Now, if you rent the tuxedo, it's going to have belt loops. But many times if you get it custom made, you want to get it made without the belt loops. Traditionally, this is worn a little bit higher at the natural waist, and you wear it with suspenders. So thus, no need for belt loops, and no cuffs on your black tie. Cuffs are a little bit less formal, and so black tie is all about simplicity, all about being one of the highest levels of formality. Although it needs to be pointed out, black tie is not as high as white tie, but white tie is rarely seen, especially in North America. And if you want more information about white tie, go check out my friend Raphael. He put together a great guide over at the Gentleman's Gazette on white tie, if that's what you're interested in.
That is 100% true. White tie is the most formal dress code known to man. I'm familiar with white tie. I have my white tie and tails outfit in my closet, and I made it myself, so it's probably not a true white tie and tails outfit, but it's still white tie and tails outfit. I tried to make it as true to form as possible. I also made my tuxedo myself. I'm probably going to keep saying that, and I'm following most of the rules that Antonio here has mentioned, except for the buttons on my jacket. They're not covered in the same fabric as my lapels. They're just resin shank buttons. They're not plastic, they're resin. There's a difference.
Okay, so now we're going to move to the shirt. So the shirt is always white, and you're going to see, in the same way you're looking at me, you see this contrast between this dark blue jacket, navy blue, and the white. You're going to see that same contrast a little bit more with the black and the white. Solid white. Now, it's going to usually have pleats. It doesn't have to, but you want to go for pleats on the more classic traditional, although you don't have to have the pleats, and these will be just folds going across the front. They'll be about half an inch to about 1 full inch the size of the pleats, and they'll go all the way across the front. Now the cuffs on the shirt, you're going to want to go with French cuffs if possible. Some of them will have button cuffs, and again, that's okay, but traditionally you want to go with a folded French cuff, and that French cuff you're going to need cufflinks for as well. The shirt, most of the shirts will not have buttons. Instead, they'll have just 2 holes, and you'll go through, again, you'll be using pieces of jewelry like the cufflinks. They're called studs, and they will go right here in the front. They can be of gold, they can be of silver. I like to match metals, so if you happen to be wearing a watch, and make sure it's a dress watch with a leather band, very simple face. That's usually the only type of watch you should wear. If you've got something that's pretty gaudy, maybe like a diving watch, don't wear that. Instead, opt not to wear a watch at all. So we've talked about the shirts. Let's go ahead and move into the bow tie. So the bow tie is the only option. Now, you can vary the bow tie, and in black tie, you're allowed to have, I think, 1 item in which you change up. So you could possibly, go with a waist covering that's a little bit of a different color. But when it comes to the bow tie, you really should go with a solid black. Don't go with a necktie, which goes long ways. And then there's 4 options of bow tie. There's the butterfly, the semi-butterfly, the straight edge, and the point end.
My bow tie is a pointed end bow tie. I'm not sure how well you can see. Yeah, you can see that. But yeah, I made the bow tie that I'm currently wearing a bow tie. This bow tie that I have in satin, I believe this is the butterfly bow tie that Antonio mentioned earlier. Hold on. Yeah, I'd say that's more of a butterfly shape, I think. Or it could just be a semi-butterfly. The straight end and pointed are also great options as well. However, because it's a black tie tuxedo, the only acceptable color for a tuxedo bow tie is black.
Fly, the semi-butterfly, the straight edge, and the point end. Now, I talked quickly about waist coverings. Waist covering is with the area from your shirt to your trousers. And what you don't want to have is you don't want to have a big jump in contrast from the white to the black of your trousers. You want to have something that helps streamline the look. And that's either going to be a waistcoat, and a traditional waistcoat usually is cut low on black tie, have about 3 buttons in the front, or you're going to want to go with a cummerbund. In cummerbund, they have a history coming out of India. That's where the English supposedly brought it from, formerly called the sash. That's where it started as. And the cummerbund just goes right across the front. Most of us are familiar with cummerbunds if you've ever worn a tuxedo, as that's pretty much what rentals give to the guys. And they come in a wide variety of colors. Gentlemen, you want to go with black. So for more information, I'm going to give you some great visuals, and I go into a lot more about the history. Again, go check out the article. Now, your footwear, your shoes. 2 options here. Although a lot more than 2 options in terms of styles and variations, but really you can either go with pumps, which are basically formal slippers, or you can go with Balmoral Oxfords, which you're probably familiar with from ever wearing a suit. The difference is you're going to see a lot of patent leathers here, and patent leather is that...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered that way earlier. You either have a patent leather court shoe or a patent leather capless Oxford. Mine are made from calfskin leather, which I believe Raphael also said was perfectly acceptable. I believe he said either made from patent leather or calfskin leather. There is also the whole cut Oxford, which I believe only has 1 seam at the very back, so something to note.
Really shiny dress leather. You're not going to have to apply polish to it. It's already pre-polished. I mean, you can clean it up a bit if it ever gets dirty, but no, you're not going to have to really polish that. I do recommend, though, that you go with just a leather that can be... I like to have an interchangeable shoe, so I find a lot of men, especially if they don't wear black tie very often, they're going to want to go with a Balmoral Oxford that they really shine up and they get a really nice shine on, and that works as a great option as well. So To round this off, there's a couple things. You can always wear a pocket square. You can always wear a boutonniere. Carnations are great. A white or a red carnation is a perfect option. Talked about suspenders. Suspenders are better than a belt. Almost forgot what it was called. And a watch. Technically, you're not supposed to wear a watch, but you can pull one off nowadays. But again, always go for something very simple with a black leather band with a very simple face. That's it for black tie. I go into a lot more detail again in the article. I talk about history. I go into a few, again, I give you some great visual examples. So go check out the article over at The Art of Manliness. And if you want more, you're curious more about style, go check out Real Men, Real Style. I go into a lot more detail. I've got hundreds of videos, hundreds of articles, a lot of great information for you. All right, take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Yep. I think that was a very good way to sum up the whole scheme of black tie. I'm starting to wonder, why didn't I just scoot myself back? But now you can see more of the shirt. Waistcoat. Yeah. Pocket square. Yeah. So the black tie dress code is one of the most formal. It's not the most formal, but it is one of the most formal. And as we saw with Mordecai Rubenstein, I already forgot how he pronounced his name, but he talked about what he liked seeing as far as his taste in tuxedos. I was mostly a stickler for the classic tuxedo setup, which is what I was aiming for when I made mine. And of course, as I've mentioned way earlier, if you're in the market to make your own tuxedo, I would recommend taking a look at Vogue 8988, Simplicity 9241, and or Simplicity 8899. Yeah. The shawl color's acceptable, the peak lapels are acceptable, the notch lapel is not, but 8962 is a great pattern to start off with, get some practice, and you might also learn a thing or two about lining. So yeah, if you ever want to learn a thing or two about lining fabrics, actually, if you're starting out making a suit, I would recommend starting out with this pattern before you think about making a formal tuxedo. So yeah, start with 8962, then go to 9241, or you can maybe start with 8899, since these pockets or these welts are not actual real pockets. They're just there for decoration. Meanwhile, I like to make my pockets fully functional, so yeah. You could probably start with 8988, since it's probably the most simple by comparison. Then you go to 8962, and then 9241, and then go to Vogue 8988. Still though, I prefer my pants to be pleated, so if you ever want a pleated pants pattern, you should definitely go with Simplicity 9043. And I just dropped it to the floor. Ugh, because I am a klutz. So yeah. These are all really great patterns, but if you really want to make the ultimate tuxedo, I would highly recommend combining the techniques of Vogue 8988 with some of the details of Simplicity 8962, because 8962 is a fully lined jacket, whereas Vogue 8988 is not a lined jacket. However, you can more than likely figure out how to create a custom lining. Norris Danforth created a half lining when he made his double-breasted suit. I figured it out when I was creating my three-piece gray suit. As far as vests or waistcoats, there is a pattern from Simplicity that has a cummerbund and a bow tie available for the pattern. It is 9962. I'm pretty sure that is what it's called. I mean, I have the pattern because I found it in a thrift store and I bought it. And if you can hear that, my brother's getting something out of the freezer, so don't mind him too much. He's just doing his thing. Simplicity 9962. Okay, here it is. That's weird. Can't see my mouse cursor. But, anyway. So, this is what I was talking about. And you can see a guy in a tuxedo. This pattern has the, pieces so that you can make a cummerbund, a tuxedo bow tie. It also says how you can make a scarf. There's also a vest, necktie, robe, slippers, and bag. It's a pretty good pattern. It's pretty much a men's accessory type of pattern envelope. Let's see if I remember. I think that's what it was called. No. Sorry, folks. I need to double check something. Oh, yep. Hold on. Okay. So there is a Vogue pattern that has three types of waistcoats. There is View A, which is kind of a day wear waistcoat. View B, which is more of an evening waistcoat. That's definitely what you want to wear with black tie and white tie. And then there's View C, which I don't know what that's from, but still, it's some... Here we go. Here's the actual package envelope. It says 2001 Vogue 7488. Men's vest, formal, Victorian, Edwardian wedding. Okay. Well, we know what it is. And the cats are trying to get into my room again. They probably want to mess things up. Because cats. There's also this folk pattern, which is 9073, and it has all sorts of accessories. It has a vest, it has a necktie, a bow tie, cummerbund. Oh, and it also has pocket square. Wait, hold on. I want to double check. I want to look in. Let's see. Okay. So. Okay, so it has two types of bow ties. One is the self-tying bow tie, which you tie yourself, and the other is the pre-tied bow tie, which you curve around and then hook in, so it saves you all that hassle. That is a bit of a cop-out. And then it has 4 versions of a necktie. C is the pocket square, B is the cummerbund. Okay, I got you. Well, I had a plan for this stream, but keeps getting derailed. But, oh well. I think I've pretty much gotten my point across. Now, something that I should definitely look into doing is making a pair of white suspenders for my high-waisted trousers, because while these are adjustable, I don't think I can actually shorten them enough to where it actually keeps my high-waisted trousers all the way up. You know, I've noticed that they keep slipping down or creeping down every once in a while, and you definitely don't want that with high-waisted trousers. You want them to be at the length that they're supposed to be in. So, yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. But hey, I have a tuxedo. I made everything except for the shirt, the socks, and the shoes. Everything else I didn't make, so. Let me double check the time. Oh. Yeah. I am running a bit behind schedule. Still, just look at that. I mean, doesn't that chain just add an extra something to the whole tuxedo? I mean, it's a small detail, but hey, it's there. So, yeah. If you're going to wear a timepiece with your tuxedo, either have like a small dress watch or a pocket watch on a chain. That's what I recommend. There is also something. I was watching Suits sporadically over the past few months. Mostly when I was working on, certain projects that I had done off stream. Like I had made another velvet jacket, this time without the satin facing. I also made a double-breasted waistcoat. And now I'm thinking about making a pair of pajamas. Hold on. Okay. Pause that. And I'm going to pause that, wait for it to load. Okay, now I want to show you guys this because there are certain things that I have to critique.
God, what are you doing here?
Are you watching Different Strokes?
Okay, so here we see Harvey Specter, who was very brilliantly played by Gabriel Mock. He's in a very nice looking tuxedo. I mean, he has the turned down collar. He has a stud. He has studs in his shirt. I see a stud, so therefore he's wearing studs. I'm certain of it. I think I saw briefly that his shirt was pleated. I could be mistaken, but he does have peak lapels on his jacket, like he typically tends to do with most of his suits. But yeah, for a tuxedo, you definitely want a peak lapel.
Yeah, well, it's a touching story of a couple of orphans, so...
Don't. It's a nice building. How long ago was it condemned?
Oh, great. So did you come all the way over here just to criticize where I live, or is...
That's a side benefit. You gotta be kidding me.
What? That.
Oh, well,
Live
hold on.
or-
Slow down.
That's a side
Rewind.
benefit. You gotta be kidding me.
What? That.
Damn it. Playback speed. Okay, what is going on with my YouTube right now? Okay, I can't change the playback speed for some reason.
That. Sentimental value, so just put that away.
Nice panda.
Thank you, grandmother. Christmas thing.
Get your tux on. We got a situation.
Okay. So, yes, he is wearing studs, and it looks like his dress shirt is pleated. However, I can see that he's not wearing a waist covering. That actually baffles me because most of the time when I see Harvey Specter, he's usually wearing a three-piece suit. Like, I remember in the 4th episode of Season 1, Dirty Little Secrets, Mike had to have Donna give him Harvey's spare suit from his office so that he doesn't get bedbugs all throughout the firm offices of Pearson Hardman. And I remember Harvey saying, "That's a three-piece suit. Where's the vest?" Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Vests? Really? It was something like that. Yeah. Harvey Specter, or I should say Gabriel Mock in general, definitely looks better in three-piece suits. And I'm pretty sure he would definitely look a lot better if he actually had a evening waistcoat to go with his tuxedo.
A situation that requires a tux. Where is this tuxedo situation?
Atlantic City. Can
Yep, pleated shirt.
you get dressed now?
Yeah, I could.
But
I don't have a tux. I'm not Bruce Wayne.
don't I know it?
You just carry around an extra tux for the random occasion?
Something told me you'd need it, and by something I mean common sense, and by need it I mean you're an idiot.
So can I ask why we are going to Atlantic City instead of just messengering these contracts?
No.
No, I'm sensing a little hostility. And you know what I think? I think that you're still stung about Donna. You see a chance to blow off some steam, and you need a wingman.
Easy, Dr. Phil. We're here.
There, how's that?
That's right. We're not in Kansas anymore. Let's move, Dorothy.
You didn't tell.
Okay, so I already see a problem with the tuxedo Harvey has given Mike, played by Patrick J. Adams. He has a notch lapel on this jacket. No, that is a no-go. Oh, and I just now noticed, there's no contrasting fabric on either of their jackets. And I'm pretty sure they're missing the galloon stripe down the pants. But I do like that they have shirt studs. Like, they're darker on Patrick's tuxedo, and Gabriel's is silver. Or should I just refer to them by their character names, Mike and Harvey? But I like how Mike has the butterfly bow tie, while Harvey has the pointed bow tie. Kind of distinguishes them. If they were the exact same, then they could definitely pass for brothers. In fact, there was even a video that was a compilation of Mike and Harvey basically becoming the best of friends, and basically I think it was called an epic bromance. And you know, I can't help but love these two. I mean, yeah, they did do some shady things, like conning the world about Mike's legitimacy up until season 7, or the season 6 finale, I should say, because in the last episode of season 6, Mike does become a licensed attorney. So, yeah. Spoiler alert. Sorry, folks. But still, even with all the shadiness and the corners they crossed or whatever else, I mean, their bromance is definitely one of the best parts of the show.
Tell me you were bringing me here.
And that's a problem? How?
I'm sort of banned from here.
For smoking weed?
Counting cards. I mean, I was smoking weed, but they banned me from counting cards. What, my brain just does it. I can't help that it keeps track.
And that's your defense?
It was 3 years ago I was broke.
Well, which is it? Your brain just does it, or you were broke?
What are you, some kind of lawyer?
Get inside. You're
He
wearing
is a
tux.
lawyer.
I'm not gonna know who you are.
Well, Harvey is a lawyer.
Speaking of which,
Oh, back up.
Inside. You wearing...
So, Harvey's tuxedo jacket has the side vents.
wearing a tux. I'm not gonna know who you are.
Okay, yep. Mike's tuxedo jacket is not a real tuxedo jacket. It has notch lapels and a center vent in the back.
speaking of which, this isn't Havana in the 1950s. Why do we have to wear tuxes? I mean, what are you, Mo Green?
Mo Green lived in Vegas.
I know where Mo Green lived.
Complimentary champagne?
You think this happens if you walk in here in a t-shirt and jeans?
Yeah, and those lapels are a bit too skinny. I think they should be maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter wider. Excuse me. Wire? Jeez. Both my tongue and my brain are ceasing to function properly. But still, come on, guys. You couldn't have given Patrick a better tuxedo jacket? Or you couldn't have given Patrick something closer to an actual tuxedo jacket? Jeez. Let's see. Let's see. I remember the final episode of Suits. Harvey and Donna's wedding. Hold on.
Any word?
What do you mean, word? You want me to call Lewis while his wife is in labor? I'd rather call anybody else about anything else.
Harvey.
Oh, Donna, he's right.
Now this is much better. Yeah, he still has the butterfly bow tie, so he's already off to a good start. He has the turn-down collar, but he's got the studs in his shirt. But this jacket is a definite improvement over the Atlantic City tuxedo, because this one has a shawl collar. That is a huge improvement. However,
Right, it's a stupid question.
It's not a stupid question. We all just don't know what to do. I mean, the only time I've been to a wedding that got cut short, you went to prison. Nothing? Come on, that is some A+ material right there. Is this thing on?
It's not that. It's just look at this. Nobody's dancing.
Well, of course they're not dancing. It's weird. It's like they have nothing to celebrate.
What do you say we give them something to celebrate?
Wait. No,
oh wait.
Word. You want me to call...
Any word?
What do you mean, word? You want me to call Lewis while his wife is...
Nothing?
Donna?
Yes.
Wait, not forgiving her. Wasting it.
What about Rain?
Was in the envelope. What do you say?
I say yes. Harvey. Yes.
Everyone, I have an announcement to make. As soon as we can write our vows, Donna and I are getting married.
Okay. That's it right there. So, that's another thing that I have to mention. He's not wearing a waist covering either, so... For a show that has one of its main characters typically wearing a vest with his suits, they skimped on the waist coverings for a tuxedo, which... that makes no sense to me. Like, did the costume department just lose interest? Or did they just not care? Or what? But still, part of the tuxedo is the waist covering. I mean, at the very least, I mean, since the wedding was taking place in broad daylight, they could have maybe gotten away with giving them a day vest, but I don't know.
I'd offer to officiate, but I'm not licensed, and I just don't think we want to open up that can of worms again.
But still, even without the waist coverings, it does look pretty good. I like that.
Donna? And wife, you may kiss the bride.
And to add to the good news, I just heard from Louis, the proud father of a beautiful baby girl.
Oh my god. Jewel Hill. Now I know where I remember him from. He was Sam in Holes. No wonder I liked him. He was great in Holes, and he's great in Suits as well as Alex Williams. And he also looks pretty good in a... Wait, is he wearing a waistcoat? Or does he just have his jacket closed?
Harvey, I want to go see Louis.
And we will, but right now, I want to dance with my wife.
You just... I just can't help but love Harvey Specter. I mean... Even when he's being a complete hard ass, or... Even at his absolute worst, I can't help but love Harvey Specter. Maybe it's the way Gabriel Mock portrayed him, but... Still... Gotta love Harvey Specter. Well, it is after 11 now, so I think I should probably wrap it up. Probably take a shower and get all cozy in my pajamas. But still, I'm already fairly comfortable in my tuxedo. But then again, I really don't think I should sleep in my tuxedo. It might mess everything up. Still. Like my little wing collar shirt. Nice wing collar. Normally, the shirt cuffs would be doubled, but this shirt is more like a soft version of the White Tie and Tails shirt. So, yeah, I'm not gonna bag on it too much. Yeah. Tuxedo jacket, tuxedo waistcoat, tuxedo trousers. See, tuxedo stripe. Got the pockets, cleats. Got my pocket watch here. Yeah. So, I'm gonna thank you to everyone. Big thanks to everyone who tuned in, watched, lurked, so on and so forth. I would also like to apologize for my having to pause every few seconds because my cats are so rowdy, rambunctious, and all over the place. They always want my attention when I'm already doing something else. Shout out to Victoria and Anita was here. My friends. Yeah. Hopefully this month I will remember to actually stream stuff. What will my next stream be? I think I might talk more about White Tie and Tails, but I can't say for sure. I might change my mind, but until next time, I have been your host, D. Casanova, and I will see you on the web. Goodbye!